Here is what the Tape Never Lies Network means to me. Now, there's a lot of sites out there, a lot of fan sites and all that stuff, but there are few, if any, that matches the knowledge, the wisdom, and the charisma of the Tape Never Lies Network. It is what I rely upon each and every week to find out what's going on with our Chicago Bears. Listen, I like the Sick podcast. It's fine. Its host is okay. But for me, the money site is the Tape Never Lies Network. Watch it.
The following show is for mature audiences only.
Yeah, and it works the other way too. I can remember back, what would have been the 14 draft? Was that the Aaron Donald year? Early on in the process, you were drafting him in the second and third rounds.
Yep.
And then he went up, and we're all praying that he falls to Chicago one pick away. But yeah, it works both ways. But you're right, man. It gets drilled into fans' heads, and they think that everybody believes that, and it's just not that way. Darnell Wright's another one. I mean, early on in the process, people are like, oh, that's a third round talent right there. We can get him round 3.
Well, we
top
took
10 draft pick.
In the offseason, when we started talking about Darnell Wright, we were getting a lot of criticism. And again, just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, Brian, I mean, you know me well enough now. This is my baby here, watching tape and talking about it, not writing about it, but talking about it. And the reality of staying yourself, knowing what you see and not worrying about all those other people. And I talked about it, and I had to remind fans of this too, when we were so hard on Jalen Carter by watching his tape, and we were so against Adam Hogue and all of these other guys that were calling Skoronski the cleanest prospect and the best. And I'm looking at tape, where? And I go, watch Darnell Wright. You want to see clean? Skoronski can't hold a candle to Darnell Wright. And it aligned up exactly where the Bears were. And it was a proud moment for TTNL, because we were fighting for these truths and away from the narratives when it came to this kind of whatever agent. I hear McShay, I'll just use him as an example, and you could talk about it. Shane will send me these shows. I don't really watch anything anymore or listen to shows or podcasts because I don't want anybody to interfere until I've decided, and then I'll listen to it. So Shane will send me, but I was listening to First Draft with Kuiper and McShay. And if you really listen, every time it's McShay or Kuiper talking about people they talk to in the league, say. And now all of a sudden their rankings move based on who they talk to, and according to these people in the league, they got them and that's just not how you should do it.
When what you're talking about, the Justin Fields, right, analysis is the investment in Fields, moving on, sticking with him, whatever. It's obviously it's way too soon, right, to know is Justin Fields. I have all the faith and confidence this guy's going to blow up in 2023. And that's not Bears bias, Bears fan. This guy has been built from the ground up for this moment to be an NFL superstar. And he had a waste of a rookie season. Last year, you saw everything slowly start to click with wide receivers who would only be in the NFL if they were on the Bears last year, because no other roster would have had space for some of these guys. And now with this supporting cast, the second year with the same coaches, same system, same playbook, he's not having to relearn verbiage. He's building timing with DJ Moore. And guess what? Chase Claypool is still a pretty good wide receiver. These guys, it's going to be a totally different world. But the point is, you can't be completely ignore the fact there is still a bust factor with every player, including Justin Fields. And if after year 3 you don't see what you want to see from him, the best front offices always are looking ahead, right? So let's say the Bears said, this is the year that we're giving up on Fields. We're gonna make a trade. We're gonna keep the 1 pick. We're gonna take Bryce Young. We're gonna trade Fields. Next year's draft has a better quarterback in Caleb Williams, and
they did the right thing.
Yeah, arguably Drake May's better too. So you know what? Give Fields this year, and no doubt he'll be the guy for the next 6 to 8. But if for some reason he doesn't work out, you got 2 1s, and then you make that move.
Unless that dragon was fucking a goat.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Chicago's trading up.
100.
Yes! What? Oh my God. Here it is!
The tape never lies.
Other people drop off, but we still keep rocking.
You'll never know how good your football team's going to be until you play with maximum effort.
Keeping it 100.
Open competition. Take over the North and never give it back.
Smartest man.
My Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. Dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man and Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keeping it 100, never running east to west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the freaking anchor, forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shane's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shane got some haters. But now they're all stuck like the Jew and now and later. Debaters, frauds get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sacks trolling like a fool, drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Jimmy. What we do when we're breaking down the Bears. Fuck a play or a captain, all of the unfair. The tape never lies, the truth, you see. We laugh, we analyze, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a sad nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like Trick Sack. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man and Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun dip. We're back better than ever and we keeping it 100.
Keep it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Justin Fields gets outside the pocket, puts that ball perfectly where only Mooney can get it. 1 point, 2 feet.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Keep it 100.
Keeping it 100.
Birds never lie. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is Claudio the Barber, and this is TTNL's Keeping It 100. I guess by Sharif's reaction, I didn't hit the mark, but you know what? Listen, the schedule is out. So is Mustafa. So we got a lot to talk about. We got another great show for you tonight. We got from 670 to score, Mark Grote, a TTNL veteran. So let's just bring on the two Creightons, Shane, the smartest man, Martha.
He's a pool jumper, Claude. Like my face is melting. Oh.
Claudio's back.
Back.
I don't know why. It must be a delay on your end.
There is, man. I wait until I see myself. I waited a couple seconds, but what are you gonna do?
Don't see yourself. It should be just.
We'll have to put him in the in the production studio is Cherie, because Cherie's
Maybe-
on point with it all the time.
Listen,
Once
Cherie,
that
Cherie, I
thing
can't say
goes
nothing
off-
bad about Cherie. She does the intro better. She does the when we have the Manscaped thing.
I love her.
better.
Yeah.
Those balls better than me, so
It's the deep ball. Better catch
Deep
that.
ball.
As long as Cherie's happy, I'm happy.
Thomas Jones is happy that Cherie's happy. Yeah, Cherie is back. Ivan Vargas is back. Claudio's back. Bratcher and Jackal still
On honeymoon in
Chuck
Cancun.
Norris
Yeah.
missing in action. Missing in action.
I'm just a fan. I'm not a football evaluator.
I know, George. We know. Finally, you've taken a back seat. We didn't see George, nor did we see Ted Phillips during the draft. And by golly,
Do you know how
golly
many
gee,
times
that is
when
great.
they finally showed the footage of the war room, I rewound it and paused it, and I'm going person by person. I'm like, please, Ted, don't be in there, please. I mean, that would have been a bad look. I mean, I can't imagine on Ryan Pohl's first round draft pick ever, Kevin Warren's first draft with the Bears, that you would ever have Ted Phillips in there. But the Bears have been known to do dumber and crazier things than that, so we shouldn't be surprised by any of it. But yeah, ding dong. Ted's not really dead, but he's out of the fucking picture.
Ted got kicked upstairs to old Michael McCaskey's chair.
Yeah, he's the youngest guy on the board by about 60 years, and Ted's up there pretty good. That says a lot.
How old is he? 70 something?
Ted, I don't know. I would say, mid to late 60s, probably.
Can we get a check on age of this? Honestly, I've never ever, and like maybe Ted Phillips outside of Chicago Bears football is a nice guy. Like I want to see both sides, but
his role, that's
was horrible.
Right, exactly.
He's like that. I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like that family member is gonna fuck up Christmas dinner, no matter what.
You know what it's like? It's
That's
like
what Ted is.
expecting Jeffrey and Marcus Jordan to dominate at basketball because their dad was good at it. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. Just because you're around him, it doesn't mean that you are him. And I mean, Ted,
thank you
for the amount of years that he was in there, and even with George being around it even more, it's just, you would think just by sheer luck and happenstance that something would fall into your brain. And they're the ship heading towards the iceberg and saying, we better look out for that. And they just maintain course.
Ted is that kid at the carnival that keeps putting money down on the fucking ring toss. Like it's gonna happen this time.
Yeah.
He just had zero chance. I need that drop in my life, the no chance, Janice. Because his energy just sucked the life out of a room. Trust me, just being around it. So
welcome, Manuel.
Manny.
Yes. Watching it for the first time live.
Little baby.
Welcome to the family. Yeah.
Welcome
Sorry, Claudio had to fuck up your first live experience, but
all right.
Many faces. I never knew the name Creighton in my fucking life. And all they do is creating drama.
Multiply in the chat.
It's all
we got
5
two
of them
Creightons.
now.
It's all
There's
good.
5 now, actually.
No, I like the Creightons. I didn't know there was 2 of them. Now we have 2 Creightons.
Oh,
If your
isn't
name
there
is
like a
Creighton,
city
we need
Creighton?
another Creighton.
There's a city Creighton, right? Creighton something?
I don't know. You'd have to look that up. There's a possibility there's a city named Claudio too.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, there is. It's gotta be. There's a city named Fuck, so I'm sure.
Does Claudio have a Beavis and Butthead mug?
I do.
He
Look at
does.
Look at the eagle eye right there.
There it is.
There it
That's
is.
the Creightons right there.
Is that the Creightons?
I'm joking.
Yeah, this is Will Fong.
Is that
and
something
Steve.
that you
Will Fong
found
and-
in your something that you found in your travels?
According
Yes,
to
yeah, I love bees and butter.
according to Google, there are 5 cities named Claudio.
See? There we go.
Ivan, you just made my fucking week.
I told
Are
you.
you kidding me?
It's crazy.
Not in America, Ivan. There's one
Yes.
in America.
And none of them are close to Wallingford, Connecticut,
None of them,
coach.
no.
Listen,
Oh, they have to be in America. I didn't hear the.
I don't know. I
We
was
don't
wondering,
know.
is there one in America?
Claudia would like to visit it. That's why.
I should
And
be the
take a
fucking
picture.
mayor.
My voice isn't all the way back. It's like
Explain to him the logistics of tonight. The game plan for tonight.
the
What's going
game
to happen?
plan is going to be the shortest keeping it 100 in a long
He didn't
time.
quit it.
Yeah.
We're going to have the great and former, is that we should introduce him, former Bears sideline reporter, because now it's at ESPN. I have to ask him about that. Mark Grote of
We
the
love
Score.
Grote.
I love Grote. And we're going to have him, and we're going to talk Bears for a good hour and change, and then we're going to wrap up tonight because I am under the weather. It's so ashamed. And
I should probably get out there so I don't get in trouble. Shane's all lathered up. You should have seen me pre-show, right, Claude?
Shane's fired up.
Oh yeah, he was on something, but
Smash the like button like Chris Rabidow. I hope I said it right. Rabidow. Smash the
Rabidow.
like button. If you aren't a subscriber to the channel, please do so now and get ready, because the Bears are who we thought they were. Who they thought we were.
You want to give Bullets an update on this, Phil? You and I talked
yeah.
about it a little bit.
give me an update too. I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, we are going to have to do some reconnaissance because, like I told the patrons, we got breaking news. I was asked to take a head coaching job for the Pop Warner team here in town.
Fuck them kids.
So I thought about it, and juggling TTNL coaching, I accepted the job. So now I have to schedule it around that. So it's definitely going to have to be in November. And the Bears schedule is so crazy because
Phil wants us to freeze the tailgate. That's what it comes down to.
oh, we did it last year, and what was it? It's like December something. And the
So we
year
got
before we did
dude,
it. In just,
Panthers. That's a Thursday
that
night.
could be. What is that?
That's a
Oh,
Thursday night, the
Thursday.
9th. But that would be great. Fucking DJ Moore and fucking
What's the other one?
in November, none. They're all away. That's the only home game in November.
Well, that narrows it down.
Yeah.
If we go in
December
November.
then.
December you got Lions on the 10th. You got Cardinals on Christmas Eve, which I don't.
We could
think
do
is gonna
Lions
happen.
Bears, have the David Montgomery return.
Well,
That could be a great thing.
That's about as pedestrian as it comes. Fuck that.
We can see what that.
I mean,
game-
late in the season, that could be a huge game, honestly. If the Bears got their shit going, who knows? That could be a big game.
It would be fun watching Roshan run rampant all over the fucking field and Tate and Phil screaming for Roshan. While the
Tate's already ready.
dude
for
with the
those.
fucking braces on the other sideline just fucking sitting there. I wish I could play, but Jameer Gibbs is playing over me.
Who? Jameer Gibbs, who's already hurt.
Oh, I was
They
saying,
play him over
David's
Montgomery.
sitting over there brushing his braces, saying, "I wish I could play, but Jameer Gibbs is playing over me."
Oh Jesus! David Montgomery already picked out the Bears and is
Yeah.
ready. So
Oh, yeah.
that to me is a good game. We'll see though. Just give me a little bit. 'cause this is a
Those
joke.
games always come back to bite the Bears in the ass when it's a former player. I
Right.
wish the
Cedric
Bears would do
Benson
that
had,
if
like,
they, yeah. Oh my God! And he
what did
told
he
him
have?
Did you ever hear that story? He was
said
waiting, and he was waiting for
texted them all too.
And he was waiting for them in the team hotel in the lobby when they showed up. Yeah. Told him that he was going to destroy him, and he did. But you always see that. Former Bears always kill.
You got to start having it a coach. Let's go back and look at who was coaching. Because when we looked at I Own You, Aaron Rodgers, and Matt Nagy's response to that was kind of, it's just football. It's just like, I know Coach Ditka would never, ever let that go. He would give you a soundbite. And a lot of people say, well, it's soundbite coaches and whatever. Well, sound bites are methods.
You see this dumb comment by Creighton right here? Huh? We play him a week fucking 2. Let's compare. Let's compare Jervon Dexter to Chris Jones a week 2, Creighton. Come on, dude. Stupid. I don't give a fuck what tape you watched.
I'm not smart.
Exactly. Nobody's fucking saying that, bro. Nobody. You have to have the ability to project. Tape is a massive part of it. But go sleep on the kid. It's fine. It's fine, man.
Why are you getting so upset?
Because expecting this kid to come out in week 2 and compare him to an all-pro, it's fucking stupid.
Where do you put Dexter? Like, what is your expectation of Dexter?
I think it's going to take time. I think he's very raw.
So,
but I'm not out there saying, "Oh, I've watched all of his tape, Phil." So he sucks, and let's compare him to an All-Pro in week 2 because his story's been written. I watched the tape.
I get it. You can't do that.
Well, that's my point. That's the shit that fires me up. He's not going to be asked to play 52 snaps a game either, like he was at Florida. Context matters.
He's the wild card. Obviously, for everybody, it seems. For me, we broke down the tape with my dad. We talked about it last week. I'm sure we'll continue to talk about it.
Yeah, it's going to take him time. Go back and look at Akeem Hicks and see what happened with Akeem Hicks, 3rd round draft pick. He didn't come into the league and blow shit up. Some guys, it takes a little bit of time. You have to have the ability to project with players. If you go out and say, "Oh, I'm just going to base it all on tape," and that's who it is, that's not the way that the NFL draft works. Yes, it's the biggest piece of it. But if you're going to base everything solely on tape, you'd never draft a fucking quarterback ever in the NFL. There's a big projection with it. Expecting Jervon Dexter
never draft a quarterback.
If you don't have the ability to project a player, you would never draft a quarterback if you're basing it solely on tape.
Yeah, you can never put a ceiling on anybody either when you're analyzing. Like, we watched it. There's nobody I trust more than my dad. My dad thinks Dexter is going to be legit. Me, I have my reservations. But Shane believes he's going to grow too.
Yeah, it's going to take.
If he does, it's a bonus for the Bears.
It's going to take time, but that's the thing, Phil. This is what when we're trying to educate fans. There's more than just watching tape with it. And if he goes out there and he struggles in week 1, if he struggles the first 8 weeks of the season, it doesn't mean that the player sucks. No. He's 21 years old. This is going to be a process with him. We'll see how it plays out. A lot of it's going to come down to, does he want it bad enough? And I think that there's a lot of that involved in it. You can hear that. We played it for you guys live on air, the phone call. Hey, I know you're thankful. Now it's time to go to work. That's not just hey, buddy, let's go. We're all happy to no, it's you need to fucking buckle down and take this shit seriously. But
listen, there's no questioning his strength. If you have strength in the interior, I always will say this, and other guys can copy this and come out with their own manipulation of it. I say that because I'm getting tired of you fill in the blank of these tape people. Okay. It's just ridiculous how much they steal. But Flattery will do you no good with me. I'm just going to come after you harder. Dexter in the inside, any defensive player, interior, I believe is the hardest position to transition into the NFL. Playing defensive tackle and learning how to line up against professional guards with their schemes and their fundamentals. It is the most difficult transition from college to the pro, playing defensive tackle. That is a mental challenge because physically you're not playing against some guy that's not going to get drafted. You're playing against NFL linemen. So that becomes very critical, and it's much harder than tight end. Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. Tight end, no position is more difficult to transition to the NFL from quarterback. That's number one. Number two would be interior defensive line. Tight end, it takes them long. It doesn't. That's a story. If you are a fucking good football player, you could line up and play tight end and be used in the scheme a certain way. You don't have to be inline tight end blocking down on fucking zone and all of that. Inside defensive tackle, telling you. And it's the same thing on the other side. Playing center in the NFL as a rookie is one of the most difficult things any fucking person will ever have to do as a football player. It's without a doubt the most difficult. Left tackle's the most talented. You put your best there, but the most difficult position is center. And that's the truth. That's why the Bears on tape and in their record column lost a lot of games because that center position isn't getting movement off the ball and protecting. There's total chaos in their run schemes. So hopefully whoever wins that center position, we'll get into that with Mark, that is going to be improved. But I'm going to learn everything I need to know about Chris Morgan, and I'm going to learn everything about Jervon Dexter. See, Dexter has a written-in excuse clause with his scheme. He does have no excuse because as far as defensive tackle strength at the point of attack, he is a superior talent. There is zero question. When he puts his hands on you, he can hold the point and move people. So if you tap into his personality and light a fire under his ass and coach him the right way, then Jervon Dexter is going to make his name known. But if Jervon Dexter comes in here and is lazy and lackadaisical or is worried, doesn't study his play, all these things matter, then Dexter will be quickly ego Ferguson out of this fucking town. It's just the reality of what it is with these guys. It's not hard. It's not easy. That's why it takes a special person to play inside. Always will be, Swifty. Always will. Need to find those guys. And Shane, last week we said it with Brian Perez. Don't sleep on our guy Travis Bell.
No, and Phil, you just go back to, we've seen all the phone calls and you know, the behind the scenes stuff. It's two things have happened in this draft that I have not seen in a long time. I've never, in all of my years doing this, I've never seen a 4th round draft pick praised and really put up on a pedestal the way that Roschon Johnson has. I mean, they've come out and said hopefully he's a future captain. City, the scout, said used the words franchise pillar. When Ryan Poles called Travis Bell to tell him that he was going to be a Chicago Bear, he told him on the phone that his tape was special.
Yeah.
How many?
I heard that.
I'm not sure I've ever heard that with any draft pick, let alone the 218th pick in the NFL draft, for him to come out and say that your tape is special. And I mean, we talked to Travis live on air here, and the short amount of time that he was on with us, Phil, I can see how Ryan Poles
Oh my God,
fell in love with him.
Great,
The kid,
character.
he was late
Humble.
showing up, but you could tell that it mattered.
He was late, man. I would have made him run some fucking laps, Grote.
Yeah.
Tell you that he would have been running.
No, it said a lot about him, though.
He was so embarrassed, though, that he was late. He felt so bad. But anyway, our guest is in the building. He's slugging down some cocktail shrimp we put in the green room for him.
Yeah.
Hopefully he enjoys that.
There it is.
And some Gatorade.
Oh, he liquefied it. He liquefied it. He's drinking.
Listen, you guys know this guy's a friend of the network, and myself and Shane love this guy. You know him from the score. You hear him asking some of the smart questions versus Larry Mayer's dumb question. No. Patrick Finley. We'll give it to Finley. Worst beat reporter award next year. We're going to give it to the worst beat reporter in
worst beat reporter question.
Yes, we're going to give an award, a TTNL award.
You didn't like Finley's last year to Justin. Justin, how does the oversized jacket on the sideline when it's cold? How does that help you?
How does that help you? It keeps me warm, motherfucker. Like what do you expect, Finley? Yes, we're going to give that award next in the summertime to start the season to get them better. Anyway, we'll talk about that with the guy. You know him from the score, 670 the score zone, Mark Grote.
This guy has been with Phil and Shane so long. He needs to have his own office at the Tape Never Lies Network Studios. You can also hear him on his Let Me Put a List Together podcast, which will come in handy covering a Bears organization with so many flaws. 100 crew, get up out your seats and give it up for WSCR Radio's own Mr. Mark Grote.
There he is.
There he is.
I can't hear you.
Is he on mute?
I don't know if he's on
No,
mute.
he's not muted. He might have to bounce out and bounce back in and accept it.
I don't know. I
His
can't
mic.
hear it. There's always a technical issue at the score for some reason. Gonna blame Lawrence Holmes. We can't hear him.
No.
I'm your idol, your highest title. I don't know why we can't hear him, Shane.
I don't know. Sometimes when you come in and
do a mic check.
Yeah.
On your bounce out. So leave studio, they come back in, and we'll get.
Damn, I thought when I came on it was bad. Fuck, he made me look fucking like a pro.
Travis Bell, this is probably one of my favorite human beings. He is a special person. I didn't want him to leave after his 30 visit, and he didn't want to leave either. There's something different about this guy. He is passionate about the game. You know, when you talk about having a full-time job during the season and showing up to the locker room in your clothes with your ID badge and your little knife, you know, from his job, that tells you what the game means to him. He's working, and football and practice is recess to him, and those are the guys.
That's what it's about. I mean, you see the GM getting fired up. Obviously, 1920 Drive came out, and Shane and Ryan Cox gave it two thumbs up, the best one they've ever seen.
Yeah, I thought it was. I told you my thing that drove me nuts, and you told me that I was worrying about it too much. But I still think that.
What was that? What was that drove you nuts?
When Darnell
scene.
got to Hallis Hall and they were sitting down in the cafeteria, and then Ryan Poles comes in to, you know, shake his hand and welcome him. He just sat there in his chair. If the general manager, the team
you
just
get
have
up
to
and
be
you get
standing up and being like,
Yeah,
hey,
right.
like, come on, dude, get up out of your seat.
Shane wanted him to run. Can we hear you, Mark?
Oh, no.
Lord. Can't hear him.
No.
Huh. I don't know.
When you come in, does it say your mic is working? You got it. Oh yeah. Okay.
Try it on his phone. Try the phone. He's gonna try the phone, but
technical.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's anything huge. It just I'm like, come on, dude, just
guy's been traveling miles to
I
get
don't
there.
care.
He's tired.
You're getting almost $21 million guaranteed. Stand up, shake the dude's hand.
Shane,
I fucked your mom.
Shane was
Don't
getting,
say that to him. That would be
Yeah, exactly.
that would be bad.
Shane was getting fired up that he didn't stand up.
I wasn't fired up. It just bothered me. I thought it was that shit to me. Just
I get
I
it.
didn't like
No,
it.
it's a respect. It's a respect
You're
thing.
damn
of course.
right.
Yeah,
You're
it's a
damn right.
respect thing.
I just know
I
the
mean,
way
it's-
that I'm built. I know the way that I've raised my son. And
Yeah.
if my son was in that position and I was there, I'd be pulling his ass up out the chair and being like,
You stand up.
pay this
yeah.
man some respect. Yeah. Look him in his face, shake his hand. Just like
I
I was
been
telling,
just
saying to
nervous,
myself the whole time, I'm like, come on, dude, get up, get up, get up,
Yeah.
get up. And he,
We are going to be showing Bell's tape. I have Bell's tape all cut up for our patron side. So if you're not a patron, Kyle, you want to become a patron. We've already broken down, obviously, Darnell Wright, Jervon Dexter, and I always mess this guy's. Can we hear you?
All right. Can you
All
hear
right.
me?
there he is.
Yes.
All right. Have
There he is.
Victory is ours.
Victory is on. Can you turn your phone sideways?
Yeah. I see.
Then
There we
now,
go.
now you're in.
Now.
Nike
now.
Athletics, kid.
Do we feel good? Now you guys could hear what I was saying. Number one, the production value on this show is still a 10 out of 10. I love the intro. That was beautiful. And I love that when I was peeking in on you guys, eavesdropping before I came on, I heard the name Ego Ferguson, which is not necessarily a good thing to hear, but I did hear the name Ego Ferguson, which does bring back a draft that was similar to this one in regards to defensive linemen.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Let's start there. First, at the top, listen, we obviously cover the draft here with the tape and we preach it like the Bible. So we broke down, obviously, on our network, we recognized offensive tackle being the number one priority for the Chicago Bears, defensive line being number two. Obviously, Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham agreed with TTNL Network, and we also mocked Darnell Wright to the Bears over shitty Skronsky and all of the other offensive linemen. I'm sorry, Ivan.
You're not a Skronsky fan?
No, I didn't have him in the top 20 of the draft. I wouldn't have been comfortable with him. I would have been very, as David Kaplan could tell you off the air, I was like, we're just doing the same dumb bullshit again. Let's draft Kyle Long, put him in at guard. Let's do another guard. Let's do guards.
Right.
Finally, they got it right, I believe, in the big man, Darnell Wright. When you watch his tape, to me, he was my number 2 tackle in this whole draft. And I believe the Bears got a legit pillar piece on the outside. He could play left or right. Obviously, I think they're going to put him at right. What are your thoughts on the first round pick, Mark?
Yeah, I like it too. I think it is sensible. I think that when you draft somebody on the offensive line, you better have a distinct idea of what you want to do with him, and you better believe that this guy can start day one. And I think he checks both of those boxes. He is as you guys said, he is a right tackle. So he would be the Bears' right tackle. And that could bring up a debate on whether or not the Bears should be comfortable with Braxton Jones at left tackle for the next 4 to 6 years of his career. But just sticking with Darnell Wright, it looks, everything about him, as you said, the tape, the interviews, the skill set, everything fits in nicely with the Bears. So yeah, I see I really don't see anything not to like about this pick, and I expect that he'll be a starter on day one.
Mark, when, leading up to this draft, everybody, was all over the map. We talked about Skoronski, but I mean, even Adam Schefter talked about, when the Bears were on the clock before they moved with Philly, he fully expected the Bears to draft Jalen Carter. Now, when we broke him down here, watching his tape, Phil and I had just remove all of the off the field stuff. We had questions about Jalen Carter just on tape. Yes, he would make some plays where he did look like an alien. You're like, holy shit. But then you might not see him for 2 quarters or 3 quarters, or maybe the next game he wouldn't even show up. Where did you kind of stand on that? Did you think when the Bears were on the clock they were going to go there? Or what did you think about Jalen Carter overall?
I'll be honest, like when I had a pretty, I would say, well thought out idea on Jalen Carter, or ideas on Jalen Carter before the draft, that it's probably not for the Bears, just because it doesn't feel like they would be in the position to take a risk at this point. But I will say, when I was at Hallis Hall during the draft and it appeared that the Bears would have an opportunity to draft him, I have to admit, I was like, yeah, go get him. Go get this guy. Just because of the potential of him being a generational talent. However, the rational side of me, once everything settled, the dust settled, so to speak, I feel good about what the Bears did and did not do, because it seemed like this was a situation where it was extremely well thought out by Ryan Poles. That Ryan Poles knows how good Jalen Carter could be, warts and all. But he came on the score, Ryan Poles did, and talked about, hey, I know what my locker room, or this locker room, can and cannot handle. And that was sort of the tone of the conversation. So I think it's like, he also admitted, look, and you guys could admit it, where he went, it's a perfect scenario for him.
Exactly.
Right. So I think this might be one of those cases where, assuming like, if Darnell Wright is a starter for the Bears for the next 6 to 7 years, then no matter what Jalen Carter does with Philadelphia or in the NFL, it's not going to be egg in the face of the Bears, I don't think.
You can't. I'm glad you said that, because rewriting history a lot, like, oh my God, Randy Moss. There's the story of Moss not showing up to Walter Payton, waiting for him hours to meet with him because that's who they were going to pick. He doesn't show up to the meeting. The Bears move off of him. With Jalen Carter, there's off the field questions, on the field questions, lack of enthusiasm. Does he love the game? All of that is not worth the risk. So Bears fans, if the guy plays great and becomes who he should become based on his talent, it shouldn't go back to say, oh, the Bears passed on this guy. He went to the perfect place with perfect leadership, a winning culture right now. When you have a losing culture, which the Bears do have, by the way, they continue to lose. Like, they won 4 games. Let's just say that. 3 games. They won 3 freaking games last year.
You know what I call last year, Phil, real quick? Last year, I only refer to last year as the 10-game losing streak. The Bears lost 10 in a row. I have no idea what their record was. Just like, never worry about the 2023 record again.
I love it.
It was the 10-game lose. They lost 10 fucking straight games.
10 fucking games.
Mark, if I would have told you the night in New England, when they went up to New England and won that game in the fashion that they won it, and I told you, hey, Mark, they're going to lose their next 10, wouldn't you have called me a crazy person?
I would have called you a crazy person, because it looked like that they had turned the corner. They finally threw out the part of the playbook where they passed the ball. And they just let Justin Fields run the football. It's like, all right, the Bears are on to something. But yeah, they God bless their hearts. I mean, I guess it worked. They got the number 1 overall pick, but yeah, that was it. It's back to the original point that you guys were making. Yeah, there's no room for any chaos in a locker room that is a losing locker room until further notice. So from that, and then you think about this. Like, everybody worries about Jalen Carter and what he might do. How about the influence he might have on other players in that locker room?
100%.
Exactly, Mark. Great
You got to
point.
follow the money. 20 million guaranteed gives you a lot of respect in that locker room. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, and a lot of extra money to pay for your guys when you go out.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to the freaking Waffle House in Philly, whatever, the Philly Cheesesteak Factory, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where they go. Yeah. Hey, yo, you guys up to the Philly Cheesesteak Factory? I don't think so.
But let's go back, kind of mesh through Darnell Wright also, and I think Bears fans forget this. He does an immense, important job by protecting the franchise quarterback, and you are trying to get answers on this guy. Where are you as far as Justin Fields is concerned? Because I believe they built Nate Davis and freaking Darnell Wright on the right side. I mean, that's a good right side there. Who they find or define as the center, I'm going to be interested in seeing. Is Tevin going to play left guard, left tackle? He still could play there. There could be a competition there. I don't know, but I believe you have a plan here. Obviously, the receivers, DJ Moore, you got Tyler Scott, Mooney coming back, and Claypool. I don't know where you are with Velus Jones, but are they doing the right thing? And what's your belief so far in Justin Fields?
Yeah, this is when we're gonna find out, I suppose. And it's definitely better. I mean, when you put DJ Moore into that lineup, immediately everybody falls into place. I mean, you mentioned the guys, Mooney, he has stayed pretty healthy for the most part in his career, but he is breakable. We know about that. But yeah, I mean, I want to see the next level on a Mooney. We obviously, the Chase Claypool stuff. I hope that works out, but that was just bad last year. And I think him having an entire offseason is going to help put him together on this Bears team. And he's still young enough, and there's still a good enough body of work from Chase Claypool that I think that he can be good, but he has to be good. So I think that there's a little pressure in that regard. I mean, I don't think that you could just depend on Tyler Scott to come in this year and make a big impact. I hope he does. I mean, that'd be great if he can come in and make an impact, but I'm certainly not banking on that. So when you put all those pieces around him, around Justin Fields, I think you have to expect something more. I haven't seen enough to know, and I think that he's got it. We've seen it. We saw it at Ohio State, but we haven't seen it enough at the NFL level, and it's going to be a furious year in terms of getting him to that point this year.
I mean, just one other. You're on the sideline, I think, right here. So you've been around this game, so there's an it factor. There's a personality a quarterback carries himself with. When you being the sideline reporter and watching how this young quarterback handled himself, did he, honestly, did he give you this, like, this dude gets it, like, we're close here, he just needs the pieces? Or do you have concerns about him?
I don't have concerns about his, like, that it factor,
right?
Like that in that regard. I mean, he carries himself that way. He carries himself that way, as you said, like on the sideline. When I see him, every step he takes, it seems like it's thought out in terms of he's a leader and he wants to put that forward. And it seems like being in the locker room with him, the players all like him. The players all accept him as the leader. And they all believe in him. And I take that, sometimes I do take that with a grain of salt, because I know that there's nobody in the locker room who in a setting like that's going to be like breaking bad on the quarterback, no matter, even if the quarterback's Nathan Peterman, they're not going to be like, oh yeah, this guy sucks. So, I'm never going to, I do understand that, when we're talking to guys, they're not always going to be truthful, but I've heard enough like real legitimate thoughts about him to think that they do believe in him. It's just that next step. And look, he did extraordinary things last year. Like, he did superstar stuff last year. I think that it's just so tantalizing to think about Justin Fields putting that part of the game together with the arm part of the game. And it's not like some stretch. It's not a stretch that Justin Fields could still be a great passer at the NFL level. It feels like it's going to take a little. It feels a little bit unlikely that he's going to be a great passer at this point, but it's certainly far from out of the question.
Yeah, I guess the way that I look at it, Mark, is I'm not sure how many quarterbacks, that you're expecting to take that jump when Simba Webster is a target on third down. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's, hey, he's in the league, so he's got talent, obviously, but it's, you're going to be right. It's not just Justin Fields. It's going to be, how does Chase Claypool, how does he ascend this year? How does Darnell Mooney come back from his injury? How does DJ Moore acclimate to Chicago along with Justin Fields? So it's going to be interesting to see how this develops. But just to get away from the quarterback real quick, Mark, and I know we're going to come back to the second round picks, but right before you came on, Phil and I were talking. I don't think in all the years that I've followed the Bears and broke down drafts and stuff, I'm not sure I've ever seen more praise for a fourth round draft pick in my lifetime than I've seen for Roschon Johnson so far. I mean, City came out and said, franchise pillar, and then hopeful that he's a future team captain. Were you taken aback just a little bit about all of that much praise? I mean, I'm a big fan of him, but I was just like, holy shit, that's a whole lot of loving going on up there at Ellis Hall for Roschon Johnson.
Right. And right now you're just projecting at a guy. It's like he played behind Bijan Robinson at Texas. And like, so people think, they're putting it together. Like, look at the size of this guy. He's got it all. Like, he just needs his opportunity. And if it wasn't Bijan, it would be him. Yeah. I mean, to answer your question, I am a little bit like, blown away because I mean, honestly, you look at the guys that are ahead of him right now, and Khalil Herbert and Dante Foreman, at least, like what I don't really see Roschon Johnson getting a ton of carries early anyway. And, depending on how they rotate, and, you sign Travis Homer as well. And I understand that this guy's not going to break ground in the NFL. But that's what I think about with a fourth round running back who was not a starter. I think, where is he going to get his carries? Yeah, he's special teams for sure. I was part of the group at Hallis Hall that spoke to him outside on field 3, and he is a really good kid. We did ask him about leadership. He likes the idea of being a leader, but no backup running back is going to step into a leadership role, especially in his rookie year. So I think I'm like you. I'm excited. I'm excited about it, and I can make a case for him. But the idea that he's some sort of franchise player or pillar of the franchise, whatever it was, that's silly.
Yeah, the part that made, just real quick, Phil, the part that made me laugh so much about it was you had the first pick of the fourth round. If you really thought that much of him, wouldn't you have just you traded down to pick 115?
Yeah.
So you wanted to risk losing a franchise pillar and a future team captain to drop 14 slots?
Yeah, that's a great point. Who are you crapping? Yeah, very good.
I'm a Roschon fan, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, let's just pump the brakes just a little bit on some of the love for him.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, like there seems to be, and the Bears are just as guilty as anybody, or probably more guilty, and this is what I follow, when they draft their guys, it's always like, oh, we're surprised he was there. Oh, man,
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't even believe Tyler Scott was still just sitting there. Noah Sewell, the linebacker, he's just sitting there. I mean, they had to take him, you know. I mean, what's he going to do? Somebody's got to get Travis Bell in the 7th round. Come on, he's just there. I mean, wow, nobody else going to take him? So, that's, yeah.
I think that's the part of the politics of it.
Of course, yeah.
And yeah, I agree. I think I read it as putting Herbert and company on notice. That was a message to them saying,
oh, okay.
This kid is a leader. He's a worker. And gosh darn it, you know, he's going to come in here and compete to start. Like the Bible lady on Saturday Night Live. That's where I believe it was a message sent to the other backs, like this young buck. And listen, the Bears have had some serious luck in middle round selecting of running backs and later rounds. They've obviously David Montgomery in the 3rd. What was Herbert, a 5th?
Yeah, Herbert. What was Jordan Howard? Was Jordan Howard a 2nd?
5th.
Fifth
round pick.
That's right.
Yeah. 5th round pick.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's a good point. But that also leads me to think that they don't care that much about running back. And hey, Khalil Herbert's in his 3rd year. Yeah, throw him out there. Throw Dante Foreman out there. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I hope you're right. Like, obviously, if Roschon Johnson is the best of the bunch and they're going to get that's the ideal case, the youngest, and, you know, it'd be awesome to actually have a true franchise running back for the first time in a long time. But yeah, I just don't see it.
I'm excited about him, and just to stay there, because he does everything really well on tape when given the opportunity. And there's something to be said. At one point, Barry Sanders sat behind a certain Thurman Thomas at Oklahoma State. You are sitting behind great players. And this kid, as I'm stealing from Matt Waldman, was recruited as a 4-star quarterback. So to transition to tailback, this kid blocks people. I mean, he blocks people. So at the very least, you're going to get somebody that's going to be competing on all levels. And if he has that high character, I mean, let's just say it. You know, when Bears players have that high character, that love the game of football, Brian Urlacher, Charles Peanut Tillman, Walter Payton, Dan Hampton. You go down the list of these, Mike Singletary. When you tap into that, you got a shot. And I think Deontay Foreman is somebody that everybody's sleeping on too. I believe he had a real wake-up call, almost getting bounced out of this league, and had a rebirth in Carolina and was able to get a chance here to be a starter, to compete to start. So competition is a good thing, I believe. And 2 Texas running backs, Mark, going to be in that backfield competing. It's going to be a good thing for them.
Well, here's I'll say about that room. I mean, that's one of the 2 positions I think I would say on the team that you could look at and say, it's fine. It's good. They're fine. You know what I mean? Like, you just, we've gone through. So running back is set. The other one's linebacker, just because of all the work that they have obviously done with Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, and you have guys coming back like Jack Sanborn. So those are the 2 positions I think are set.
Yeah, that's a great point. Has there been I think the linebacker rebuild of the Bears is a huge story. It is a huge story, to your credit here. Obviously, they invested. It's not hard to follow the money. Tremaine Edmonds was the big signing, but Mark, I mean, me and Shane, I know Shane loved Tremaine coming out of college. And I say you're going to put this guy at middle linebacker with that kind of length. You're going to go back to the cover 2, and you think of Brian Urlacher causing those passes to be high in the window with that kind of length in your drop.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, for whatever the came, Morrow couldn't do it. And They were just awful. I mean, if I had to pick a position that was worse than center or defensive line for the Bears last year, it was linebacker. They just were all over the place, pathetic. This has been a big rebirth, and Sanborn made Roquan Smith an afterthought. So where does he play into this in your mind?
Yeah, it's great stuff. I mean, and just to go back, like I thought Roquan and Morrow were going to be a really good combination.
Me too.
Last year, I really did. Like in the preseason and just seeing him in training camp, it just looked like the speed. But no, you're right. I mean, the linebacker was and then just throwing in the trade of Roquan Smith, it was kind of a train wreck year, except for the guy you just brought up, and that's Jack Sanborn. And it still feels like Jack Sanborn has some proving to do, and he had I think that there is a show us again mentality going on with the Bears, which is probably the right thing. This is undrafted guy. So obviously guys like that are going to be a little bit more suspect. So I think there's a little bit of, you're not just going to step in here. Look what we signed Edmonds and TJ Edwards, and you're throwing Dylan Cole and, even if you like Noah Sewell. So there, and that's
Noah.
I know. And actually I think Sewell is the guy that I think Sanborn has it over Sewell, but there will be some competition there too, I think. Yeah. So, but I honestly, I can't wait to see what Jack Sanborn does this year. Yeah. I hope he does take the next step up. And if he does what he did last year, then it's a great compliment. That's what these guys did, especially Edmonds, because he's the big dog. It puts everybody, just like the wide receiver crew, it puts everybody into place and simplifies the position a little bit.
Yep. And I think one other layer that you can add to it, Mark, in terms of the linebackers, is if you look at TJ Edwards' deal, it's really a 1-year deal. They can get out after 1 year if they have to. So if Sanborn, ascends, if Sewell is who we think that he could be, after all the changes at Oregon that he went through, they can save some money there, move off TJ Edwards, and then 2024, you're going in with Edmonds, Sanborn, and Sewell as your linebackers, and that's just another way to look at it. And none of it would shock me, because I said I didn't think that going into this offseason, I knew that linebacker had to be upgraded. When they signed TJ Edwards, I'm like, all right, there's their guy, there's their linebacker, and then they doubled back with Tremaine Edmonds, and I'm like, holy shit, I didn't think that was happening.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time you get a real look into the eyes of Matt Eberflus, I think. Yep. And, Brian, but this is clearly that's the position, that they really value. And, you could trace it back to Matt Eberflus in Indianapolis. You could trace it back to his days in Dallas. With duds in this defense, in the 4-3 defense, they're incredibly important positions as well. So I was like you too. What do they do? I mean, I even asked the question at the press conference, why linebackers? And he just said that there was too good of value to pass up on. And I think he left out the part two where they really just fucking love linebackers, the coaching staff. So which is not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it isn't, especially when the linebackers they had weren't very good. And Sanborn clearly was instinctive and physical at the point of his eye. He knew his keys and he did what he was supposed to. It was evident on film. And that's where I want to ask you, we talk about this team, obviously the draft and everything, but like I talked with Brian Perez last week, the unknowns at coordinator in Getsy and Williams, that to me is a huge story here, because I don't know what Getsy is, and I don't have any confidence in Williams. So is Eberflus going to take more of a handle on this defense, or are we going to be, where are we at with these coordinators in your book?
It's such a great question. It's something that I talk about a lot that these coaches are going to both be under a real microscope this year, whereas last year they weren't. There was nothing real. There was no real evaluation of the coaching staff last year. There just really wasn't. Maybe there should have been a little bit more, but and the Williams point is so good because the Alan Williams, like no other position, Alan Williams was given a pass. And every week the question was, why couldn't you get to the quarterback this week? Why couldn't you are you going to try to do this to get to the quarterback? Are you going to try to do that to get to the quarterback? What happened to getting to the quarterback? So, and each and every week it was like, oh yeah. And, Alan Williams, great guy, very thorough. It's, with the media, probably the nicest guy in the whole crew, but he's got a lot to show this year. Yeah. And he's got some scheming that he's got to show this year. He's got development in year 2 with, a guy like Dominic Robinson, get something out of that. So I'm totally with you. And then really quickly on Getsy too, same thing. I mean, I think we know a little bit more about Luke Getsy, and I like Luke Getsy's willingness to adapt to a game plan, adapt to a season the way he did last year. But he's got a ways to go. I thought it was kind of a joke last year when people were talking about Luke Getsy as a potential candidate as a head coach when the Bears they found, and to their credit, they found a way to make Justin Fields and the offense effective and damn dangerous. If it wasn't for, again, the defense, there would have been some wins in spectacular fashion last year for the Bears. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think we've seen enough out of either of those guys to really say it's a sure thing. And then, I do think, look, if that defense is reminiscent, if there are things that occur that were similar to last year on that defense, then 100% Matt Eberflus will impose his will, let's just say, on the defense.
Mark, with you being at rookie camp, I know you said you got to talk to Roshan, one of the guys that I was interested in during the draft process. I've been banging the drum for the Bears to bring in a young quarterback, obviously beyond Justin Fields, late in the draft, just to get your hands on him, get him in camp, see what you got, a guy with some upside. And the guy that I was banging the drum for was Tyson Bagent. Mm-hmm. Did you, everything that I saw of him, obviously there's not a whole lot out there on him, but you see some throws from him that can make you go like, oh, wow, there's something here. There may not be a whole lot here, but there's something to work with. And that's all I've ever really asked for. I don't think the Bears do that enough. If it doesn't work, you move on from him. But did he have any throws at rookie camp or anything that kind of made you say like, wow, there's, maybe this kid can stick on the practice squad moving forward?
I mean, not really, but I like what you said about that. And I think the Bears were thinking it too. It's like the proverbial take a flyer on a guy and see what he's got. And, I didn't notice anything overly spectacular, but I do think it's interesting. And, we don't see everything that is going on. We were able to see a lot of that rookie camp, but, he was not one of the players that spoke. But yeah, no, I like it. It's interesting. And yeah, you do have to keep that in mind. I mean, right now the Bears, it's Justin Fields, I think, PJ Walker and an old Nate Peterson on the roster as of right now. So as much as, we're all obsessed and we should be obsessed with Justin Fields, it is with a new GM and Justin Fields in this year where he's got to show, he's got to go to the next level. I mean, I don't think he has to become a superstar to save his job, his starting job. He's got to show Ryan Poles that he's good, or else we're going to find out about what Ryan Poles really thinks about quarterbacks and prospects and things like that.
When you looked at camp, at rookie camp, you always get kind of an impression. Was there anybody that stood out to you? That you were like, yeah, this kid's got some skills. He's got a good skill set here.
Yeah, Phil, it's really hard, like with the rookie camp, because they're just in shorts out there and very little actual scrimmaging, a lot of position group, a lot of teaching. So it's really hard for me. Like for instance, your guy, Roshan Johnson, was basically shaking his head because he's like, I can't do anything out here. I got no pads on. I can't show what I'm all about out here. He's like, he's even said it. He's like, I unpadded practices. So, but this is not just unpadded. This is just so elementary. So I was impressed with Roschon Johnson, what he had to say to us. I really liked one guy that we haven't talked about, second round pick, Tariq Stevenson out of Miami.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed talking to him, and he seems like a guy who very well is, as far as I'm concerned, should get every single chance to start opposite of Jalen Johnson, and he moved Kyler Gordon to the inside. So those guys were all good to talk to. I'll tell you, Jervon Dexter, man, like, of course, he's big, but boys, he's really big. When you see a guy like that walk into the room and you're like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, even though you know how big he's listed as, you see him and you're like, okay, I could see why that guy plays defensive line in the NFL. But yeah, it's hard to come up with like real X's and O's. This guy caught a 20-yard pass like we'll be able to do in training camp, just because it's so rudimentary in the rookie camps.
When you look at this roster, as Bullets is asking here, he's reading my mind, so I'll just use his because, he'll get offended. There's been talk of the Bears addressing the edge position. Who do you see filling that spot? And it's via signing or trade at the defensive end position. Obviously, there's a Houston and the Clowney out there. You got
Frank
Clark with his troubles. Yep.
Yeah.
Can you see a trade with the Chase Young,
yeah,
Washington? Can you see that happening? What are you hearing or anything?
Well, I mean, Ryan Poles came on the Score and said that they're looking at a number of different things, and that he said something to the effect of hopefully something will happen sooner or later. So that leads me to believe that it's not necessarily imminent, but they're looking and talking to somebody who they are talking to, whether, who knows, maybe Robert Quinn or Leonard Floyd has another dance with the Bears. They're going to probably bring in somebody. I don't know if it's going to be any of those names. They did sign Shaquem Green and DeMarcus Walker to the roster this year. You still, the Bears still obviously have hope in Dominique Robinson. I mentioned him earlier. He was a legit project, and I talked about to you earlier, Phil, like that's the kind of stuff that lands on Alan Williams and his position coaches as well.
Yeah, that's obviously those names. We believe Walker will be a 3 technique. And that's where he'll be his best. He can jump out there in a pinch. Obviously, Justin Jones did a good job. I mean, he's not the end all be.
They pushed Justin Jones outside a bit last
year. They did,
They could use him there.
I think he's gonna have a good year. Actually, I think Justin Jones is gonna. I like Justin Jones. Not a superstar. I get why they're trying to upgrade at the 3 tech, but I like Justin Jones.
I do too. I remember when he was coming out of NC State, he was dominating the Senior Bowl. I thought he'd have a better year than he had, but then again, the surrounding talent, when you're playing that position, you need some help there, and there just wasn't. I mean, that was probably the worst position group in football. So,
it's so bad.
It was. So, the other guys, Yannick and Ngakoue.
Right.
So you get to the point of looking at these edge players. It was actually on the Score that you guys got him to. It could, he leaves you hanging. Like, it could be very soon, something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
So, is there any?
He knows.
Is there any names that you're hearing, or no? It's just
all the same names that we all keep listing off: Clowney, Floyd, Clark, Quinn.
Just stay away from Floyd, please.
Yeah. I don't think they're gonna. I would be.
I think Justin Houston's older, but I would love him in Chicago.
Yep.
I mean, he's connected to Poles, connected to Flus, and
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Another guy that I don't think is going to would cost you as much to acquire either, is depending on what the Jets do with Lawson. That would be, I'd be looking in there, Carl Lawson, because I think he'd be a perfect fit here.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, no matter who you get, it's gonna be a crapshoot because you guys all know it is with like veteran edge rushers. I mean, we found that out with Robert Quinn, right? 1 year, he's got 3 or 4 sacks. What did he have? That's his first year, like 3 sacks. And then he has the monstrous 18.5 sacks in 2021. And now Robert Quinn cannot be found, was never found in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I don't think. So no matter who you get, I feel like this is just not going to be the year for it better be better. And maybe one of these guys, maybe somebody surprises us. Maybe the system of Jervon Dexter and Zach Pickens and the push inside does help. I mean, it's all got to, but this is not going to be the year, I don't think, where you have a 12 sack guy on this roster.
It's going to be interesting to see Pickens, Dexter, as you said. I mean, he's enormous, right?
Enormous.
There's no questioning his strength at the point of attack. Obviously, everyone's all over the map. The tape gives me nightmares watching him sometimes, but
tape never lies.
It never does. But there is something to power and strength at the point of attack that can deter some of the tape, whether the coaches are asking him to play, read and react, defense, or attack up the field. That's what the Bears are going to do. So he is a huge wild card, pun intended, because he is that big of a man, as you say. He jumps right out at you, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he really did. Like, you know who he reminded me of in terms of, like, you see him right in person, and I know not everybody listening gets to see everybody in person, but Roy Robertson Harris. I know.
That was my dude.
Roy Rob was a massive individual, but Dexter's wider, like, you know what I mean? Like Roy Robertson Harris, like he was in pretty good shape. Like, and so is Dexter, but you know what I mean? He's just a big, thick, strong dude. You know what I mean? So but yeah, Roy Rob was the guy that jumped out.
That's a good comp there.
Yeah, I like that. I'm very comfortable with that comp.
Roy Robb was my guy. Like, I felt like they used him incorrectly. They needed to play him a hell of a lot more. Obviously, did some serious damage. Got paid by Jacksonville.
Sure did.
Well, the Bears did all the dirty work with him, transformed his body, and then let him walk.
That was dumb.
That's the tough part.
That's true. It's a good point.
That was one of my favorite guys.
They got him all dressed up and sent him out in the real world. You know, Roy Rob got himself a job in Jacksonville.
And became really good.
Yeah, they're like sending Dear Bears. This is really cool here. Thanks. Oh, awesome. That's really cool. Roy Rob, we're really happy for you. Coming up for Thanksgiving this year? Oh, great. Yeah.
That makes you ask the question, how many players has this organization developed and then they've let go of?
Well, I don't know if we want to give the Bears that much credit to say that the Bears have developed that many players, and they've got, well, I mean, Leonard Floyd, maybe based on the season he had, right? When when he signed with the Rams and he had the big year. I don't know if you count him as somebody the Bears developed and let go into the wild. Okay, we'll put a no on Leonard Floyd.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Who else? I mean, maybe David Montgomery might be that guy with Detroit. No, they got too many running backs on Detroit. I don't think David Montgomery's going to get the carries he thought he was going to get.
Greg Olsen,
Greg Olsen's a good one. That's a really good one. That is, top of the list.
Talking tight ends, Mark. Phil and I are on opposite ends of the spectrum on this.
Oh boy,
with Cole Kmet, I just think it's a difficult position to come in and have instant success. You never really see it at the tight end position, and I think you see incremental progress with Cole every year. And you talk about him coming up on a contract extension, where he's going to be eligible for that. Do you think that him and Mooney, and obviously you're not going to extend Claypool yet, but even Mooney, I think that they're probably going to pump the brakes on it. But do you think just contract extensions in general, who do you think is going to be some players that they may focus on? Do you think Cole is one of them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think based on the way Ryan Poles was talking about Cole Kmet, and this is at the end of I think this was the end of the season. The 10 game losing streak year is over.
He was the one guy he pointed out.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he was like, he's a blue chip player. This guy, he just really raved. So it made me think, oh, okay, so stand by for extension, and maybe that is in the works. I don't know. I would assume that the two parties would probably be very prone to wanting to be together. As far as how good he is, I think Cole Kmet is going to end up being a decent tight end in the NFL. I'm backing off the very good to possibilities a little bit, just because he doesn't. There's not the separation. He's not getting the big separation. He did, obviously he got better last year, and I like Cole Kmet. I just don't know that there's a special factor with Cole Kmet, but he is a guy that has gotten incrementally better every year.
I'm so glad you agree with me.
No, Phil doesn't even want him on the team at this point.
Oh, wow. Well,
no, that is
totally,
not.
I mean,
he's totally taking a political.
Well, you don't want him. You don't want him. I don't think he's gonna reset the market. He's 40 years old. I think there's room
to go into next year and show us a little more than decent, as Mark is saying. I
think he's shown more than that, but I think Tunyon here is going to help him. He's not everybody thinks that he needs to be Travis Kelce. That's not who he is. That's not his game.
Then he doesn't get a contract extension to say that he's that. The way Poles was talking about him made me question Poles. I was like, what? This guy jumps every time he's getting the ball. He jumps, he leaves his feet every time. He does it, and then he'll turn around and drop his pads like he should. And you're like, wow, that's the guy. And then the next week, it's the opposite. He's a pussy again. And then the next week, he's making a play and being tough. There's no consistency with him. He's just a clunky, decent tight end.
Oh, I mean, there's so much consistency around the Bears organization and the offense in general.
That doesn't mean that you don't. David Montgomery brought consistency every week.
Oh, but I get
it. Go out there and play the game like you did versus Detroit. Swing the fucking bat on the touchdown more. Get to those. I'm with you. I think Tunyon will come in here and push his ass. But I thought they needed to draft another tight end. They didn't. That was one of the things I was hoping for.
And that might have been one of the areas, too, that they talked about how they're just not going to be able to address every position this year in this free agency and obviously in this draft. So, I mean, I think I'm somewhere between you and Shane on this one because I think he's a decent to good tight end in the NFL. How many, and it's a good point too by you, Shane. I mean, not everybody's going to be Travis Kelce. I mean, you can't look at that as the bar. I learned that about wide receivers too, that not everybody, to use a name that you used earlier, you're lucky if you get an elite Randy Moss receiver on your roster. You can't look at every receiver around the NFL and compare them to the top dogs. So I try to keep that in mind. That's what the real scouts and evaluators try to impress that upon us sometimes.
Let me ask you this. For you, if you were the GM, would you pay Mooney or Kmet?
I would pay Mooney.
I'm with you 100%.
I would. Are you with that too, Shane, or would you go?
No, he's already been on the record.
Well, okay.
Oh
okay.
no.
Okay.
It depends on. Listen, I got to incorporate all of these guys into it. I think Jalen Johnson is a goner in Chicago. I think this is his last year, based on financial expectations. And I look at the same thing with Darnell Mooney.
Personality.
Darnell Mooney's expectations are $20 million a year. No fucking way. I'm paying Darnell Mooney that.
Right. No, that's a good point. That's a really good. It'd be really hard to stomach that. No doubt about it. No doubt.
Well, that's a rumor that's out there,
right? But I mean, that's when you're a fifth round draft pick and haven't been paid 20. Yet.
He said 15. He was looking for
17. I think
17,
said, right?
17, maybe.
But even
it wasn't a 20 banger.
Even that, and a lot's going to depend on health. You know,
it's going to depend on this season. Right?
Well, I think both of them. Wouldn't it be right to just look at both of them?
Sure.
I mean, to me, it's easy. Well, Darnell Mooney was the outlier to me.
As much as people don't want to admit it, Phil, this regime did not draft him. This regime invested a second-round draft pick into Chase Claypool.
They also didn't draft Cole Kmet either.
Exactly. So, they didn't draft David Montgomery. I'm just saying. They didn't draft Khalil Herbert. That's another guy we've been talking about. And there's going to be these decisions. They're not going to pay everybody. That's for damn sure.
You're going to pay Tevin Jenkins? I don't have to worry about Tevin next year. But
we got a couple of years.
I know.
Don't go there yet.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about. I was just playing the game of guys that the Ryan Poles didn't draft.
Do you think that they're sold and locked and loaded on Tevin Jenkins? Because I do not, Mark.
No, I don't either. I'm still too skeptical based on everything that happened last year with jacking around with him at they're like okay, right tackle is not even left or right tackle is not even going to happen. We're going to put you at right guard. Okay, now they signed Nate Davis, so who played right guard. So that tells you, okay, well, as good as he was at right guard, we're probably going to put him at left guard. So I don't know. I think that they obviously see value in him. I don't know if they trust him physically still, and I just don't.
The big one.
Yeah, and I just don't trust that relationship. I really don't.
It's going to be an interesting guy to see. There's no questioning the talent there.
Oh, I love him. I like Tevin Jenkins. You know, you're asking about like that, like Ryan Poles specifically, not just because they didn't draft him, but also just because of what went on at the beginning of last year and trade rumors and all of this. And then, everything surrounding him and the injuries too are massive. So
he's walking up the hill. There's all these questions. He became a story of utter weird. Right? It's just weird.
It was weird. It's all weird with Tevin. That's such a great weird. That's a great word.
Now maybe he's bought into it. Like Shane had pointed out in that interview, like they were talking about to him, I guess, and he was like, "Yeah, he's hanging out with the team."
Yeah, he said he's having a real good time.
A good time
building camaraderie.
Yeah.
So that's a definite bridge.
That part's easy. Yeah. That's the easy part. That's the
true.
Easy part.
Well, he's always had that. I mean, he's a great guy. He's very social. He's very fun to talk to. He's great to the media, and he's a pretty good player. So now it's just a matter of him buying in, and quite frankly, the Bears buying into him too. For now and in the future. Yeah.
Something happened behind the scenes there.
Yeah.
There's just something that just seems
he
wobbly.
Probably put Chris Morgan in a fucking chokehold and said, "Play me a fucking tackle."
Well, I think it comes down to two, and I think, listen, when he was the Bears traded up, I still look back to the Bears trading up for him. As soon as that draft was over, they released Charles Leno. And so you're the guy. You're the guy. You're the left tackle.
That was it.
Same with Larry Borum. Those guys got the Roshan Johnson treatment. These are our guys. We stole them. Blah blah blah. All of that, and then you get moved around, and then all of a sudden you're a guard. Ryan Poles comes here and says, "Well, when we broke him down when I was in Kansas City, we didn't think he could play guard. So he surprised me that he could." Well, he surprised me at right guard, and we think so much of you at right guard, we're going to sign a guy that plays right guard and push you over there. So to me, I think that it's there. I just don't think anybody wants to really talk about it. I don't think there's a whole lot of belief. It's if you go out there and you stay healthy, we'll see what happens. But I said this to Alex Shapiro when he was on with us. I think Tevin Jenkins' name on this roster is written down in pencil. I don't think it's written down in pen.
Unfortunately, I agree with you. I do. And who knows, maybe this year changes things, but everything you said, connects the dots to their position by position, year by year. They're building it their way. Braxton Jones became their left tackle that last year. Darnell Wright will become their right tackle this year. Who the hell knows is going to be there? I mean, They can't just throw Lucas Patrick back in there again this year after last year. God, I hope not. But I'm also not completely comfortable with Cody Whitehair playing center, quite frankly. So there's still some things that got to be worked out. But yeah, it's like they're putting their seeds in with their own guys here, and it remains to be seen what that relationship was like with Tevin Jenkins.
For the first time in 40 years, Ted Phillips was nowhere to be seen on draft day. And that, for me, was a celebration shot at the Atoshan house. Because, yeah, big time. So have you noticed anything so far as Kevin Warren has taken over as the president? Have you felt anything like for the media access wise? I know he's probably still going through his 200 and whatever odd employees he's going to sit down with.
Yeah.
But have you seen anything? Like, is there a better food spread?
The only thing, I'll say two things. I did see Kevin Warren. He was present at the rookie camp, which he was out there, which I don't remember ever seeing Ted Phillips at any practices. I mean, I think Ted Phillips probably got a little camera shy after a while once he realized his Q rating wasn't really at an all-time high in the city of Chicago. So, that's been my only other than the opening press conferences and things like that, saw him out there. And then I'll say this, out at Hallis Hall the other day, and I don't know if this is the Kevin Warren effect. I have no idea. But when we did the draft show, a colleague of mine, Dave Kerner, was setting up his equipment out there, and he needed an Ethernet line. And I'll be damned if there weren't a PR person and two service gentlemen who came right on down to take care of it. So I have no idea if that's the Kevin Warren effect or what, but that's pretty good to have two representatives taking care of your problem for the media. So I thumbs up if that's Kevin Warren.
It's gotta be.
Let's hope so, Mark, because I sent a video to Phil when it came out there, and I said, just them. We're seeing the scouts breaking down tape of the prospects. We're seeing Ryan Poles sitting down with Cynthia Freeland breaking down the guys that he drafted, and I'm like, wow, this isn't Chicago Bear like at all. We're not used to this. And I know in Philly, back when there a few years ago, they used to have members of the media in and say, this, when we're scouting guys, this is what we're looking for. You guys are writing about these guys, so we want to show you what we're looking for. And to me, it makes sense. They're putting the media almost through a little, scouting boot camp. And it makes perfect sense. I wish the Bears would do more of that. And I'd like to know Kevin Warren. Like, I'm in New York. I don't get to go to Hallis Hall for training camp every single day during training camp. I would live stream this shit. I mean, it's good for the brand. I mean, you don't want to give away your trade secrets for being a shitty franchise for the past 40 years. It's big school thinking, and I hope there's more of it, man. I really do.
That's so true. Like, big school thinking, something creative like that. Because you're right, the Bears have always been incredibly conservative with things like that. So hopefully there's some outside of the box thing. I hope I hope his focus is the only project he's focusing on is not the stadium. I mean, I love the stadium project, but he's got to come up with some new and cool and innovative ideas, and we'll see. Based on the fact that my colleague got some of the best Ethernet I've ever heard. I mean, that was great. I mean, you want to talk about Ethernet? That was Ethernet, folks.
You could have used some of that Ethernet earlier.
Oh my God, yeah. Where's Kevin Warren, man? Yeah, Kevin Warren. he's got a toolbox. Hey, how you doing, Mark? Good to see you. Nice to meet you. Good to see you. All right. Let's get that fixed right up. How you doing? Hi, you didn't look me right in the eye. That's a really good handshake.
Like Laz had said and pointed out that one of the guys in the chat, he even showed up to Justin Fields' graduation. I mean, that says a lot. There's already a showcase that this guy understands that football is the priority, where the bean counting and all of the season tickets and all that shit, that takes care of itself, because the Chicago Bears fan is probably the most fanatic in all of sports, I believe. I could throw that out there because it shows in as Shane and Brian Perez pointed out last week, those mock draft simulators. It was like leaps and bounds, Bears fans doing mock draft simulators versus any other team in the NFL. I go to a stadium, and I went to Carolina. The Bears fans were filling up that stadium. Here in New York, Bears fans take over Giant Stadium. It's like they travel with the team. It's something that they should embrace, especially with a new president that gets it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when being down on the sideline for those road games, there's always a presence, and it almost got to the point where, I mean, I would mention it during our broadcast. The Bears, it almost just became a non-story because there was Bears fans at every game. It's like, how many different ways can the Bears fans are here again.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's the base of Bears fans and the reach, and then the nature of it being a large market. I think that there's many things that the Bears have, there's so much untapped potential for the bigger picture of the Chicago Bears. And I think Kevin Warren will take care of that.
So Mark, in terms of I know Phil kind of alluded to this a little bit, but in terms of like your day-to-day or any acts, has anything changed with this new regime as compared to what it was before?
Not yet. I think that we've only, gathered at Hallis Hall probably a handful of times since that, and there hasn't been any sort of regularity. So once we get into camp and there is a pattern, there is a repeated pattern every day, and things become systematic, then we'll find out. And then especially during the regular season, whether it be tweaks, whether it be differences, will access change, be different, be better, whatever the case may be, whatever creative things they may come up with. But there's no way to know really at this point, unless I'm right about the Ethernet. So,
but we want post game mics for the press conferences every week, Mark.
Okay.
We talked to Courtney Cronin about it, and every friggin' game we're sitting there, we had Courtney on, and we're like, can you say something, please? Because we're sitting here, we're live on BHL as soon as it goes. You can't hear any of the questions.
Oh, you're talking about after the actual game.
After the actual. So you can't hear anything.
Oh, it sucks. You're right.
Yeah, and then
Yep.
we asked Courtney, and then the very next game, we're like, "Holy shit, we could hear the questions."
It was
then it went away. Then it went away again.
3 weeks later, it went away.
Oh wow. Well, then they obviously got. I've noticed that too. Yeah, that blows. That shouldn't happen. So that is the kind of thing that I would imagine that's not going to get past Kevin Warren.
Yeah, because we are going to make sure we tell Chris Zorich to whisper it in Kevin's ear as well.
Yeah. When's he coming on? Is he coming on?
Zorich is on our network, but he's probably watching in the chat.
Oh, shout out to Chris Zorich if he's watching.
I will send him that clip. Clip that, Claudio. From Mark Grote.
Mark Grote loves Chris Zorich, no doubt about it. Come on, local guy, Notre Damer, Bear, please.
Great player.
He can do anything he wants.
He was at the TTNL party I invited you to.
Oh,
he would have put you in a chokehold.
I'm sorry.
Don't forget Grote.
Yeah, come here, you.
Next year, you're coming. When we go
I know. I feel so bad, Phil. Your invitations are always so kind, and I'm always like somewhere else. But yeah,
listen, you're a busy guy.
Yeah, well, it'll happen. I know you do. You're very courteous like that. Thank you.
I still remember being in the tunnel with that other guy. He's not very smart. Where's that drop? Where is it? He's not smart.
I'm not smart.
Yeah, Greg Braggs. Me and him in the tunnel. Yelling down to you.
Oh, yeah.
Before the Packers-Bears 100.
Oh, Bragg's always doing that. He still is doing that. Oh, yeah.
Grote comes over, shakes our hands, talking with us.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're
man.
a good dude, always.
I got to know, like, doing the sidelines, you get all the people, like, sitting behind the Bears sideline. You get to know those people after a while. So, Yeah, it's a fun time at the old.
Let me ask
Soldier
you
Field.
this: you're on the sidelines. Has there ever been some chaos that you've seen and just decided it's better if I don't report this?
Oh, great question. Because usually when there's chaos, that's my game, man. That's the stuff that I gotta be on. No, I don't think there has been a time. I mean, I guess like I remember, Allen Robinson slamming his helmet down, James Daniels getting into it with Harry. Who was Chris Morgan's predecessor? It wasn't Harry. Oh, it was Juan Castillo.
Juan Castillo.
Getting into it with Juan Castillo one point in time. Just jawing back and forth. So I don't think that I have ever seen a fight amongst I've seen like players get held back because they're so emotional about something, but I think I've done a pretty good job of mostly reporting. Like it's impossible not to, like, because that's what I do. I'd be a bad reporter if I left it alone.
I get it.
How do you think the new grass held up? That was a big topic in, Soldier Field, and obviously over a lot of years it's been pretty awful. But they made a big deal with the new grass with Flus bringing it up. How do you think that held up overall, Mark?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I think it's funny that it got. Remember that first game when it just the monsoon. Yeah. I lost a phone that day, man. And a waterlogged phone.
Because you're diving into the pool at the end of the game with the players, or fell out of your pocket.
I may as well have been. My phone may as well have been sitting in a sink of water the whole time under the water. Is how bad that was. But no, the grass. Players loved it, man. Yeah, they kind of like guys like veteran players like visiting and home, because I would gauge that a lot early in the season. Yeah. And they're like, it's the best I've ever seen. Cole Kmet was like, yeah, I mean, he was definitely like, oh, this is so much better than it was, as if to almost say it sucked the year before. So yeah, man, whatever it is, the bio blue or whatever, or the banjo blue,
Bermuda or whatever.
Blue. That's it.
Bermuda blue.
Bermuda blue. That's
you gotta get the Bermuda blue.
The grass is good, boys. The grass is good.
Are you talking in the city of Chicago or the?
Oh, well, that's just omnipresent, man. Ever since this city went legal, man, it's just clouds of marijuana.
Smoke weed every day.
Yeah.
Claudio loves the city of Chicago. Can't wait to move there.
Oh yeah. We're free. We're open. We're open for business. Yes, we are.
Connecticut's about to be open.
Oh, good.
To be open.
No, it's amazing how many people that didn't do it before are now like, oh yeah, you know what? Gummies helps me sleep. It's like
exactly.
People were just waiting for it to be legalized around here, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that same benefit in Connecticut.
Yes, I'm sure we will enjoy that.
We're just waiting for the day to see Ginny puffing up in the luxury suite.
My guess is you guys don't have to. You guys don't have to wait for legalization to get yours. You got a guy.
It's Claudio.
Oh, Claudio.
Yeah, Claudio. Exactly.
Oh, okay. Hey,
yo,
what do you need?
Send you his business card.
Yeah, Claudio's a man who can get you things.
That's it. I'm a barber, bro. I know everybody.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah, of course.
Oh, that's cool, man. I have
Why he wears a hat so you don't have to see his shitty haircut.
Oh, my God.
I'm too busy to
cut his own hair. Come on.
Barbers are I got a new respect for barbers are like back to being cool. When I was a kid, like barbers were like the guy that works at the old man that works at the end of the street. Barbers are like cool ass people now.
Yeah.
Bear's
got a barber. It's Claudio's friend.
Well, while I'm on here, I got to ask you this question. In the chat, they've been talking about this. Have you heard anything about Hard Knocks, and what's your opinion on Hard Knocks?
I would love it if the Bears did Hard Knocks. I mean, when we were talking about like being more creative under Kevin Warren and like kind of like holding up the, here's the Bear. Like, what secrets exactly have they been keeping from the world that would hurt them so badly? I think that the franchise would just become more popular.
But what's your opinion being in there? Like, do you think that's a possibility?
I think that
thinking about it, or
I think that George McCaskey will use every ounce of his influence to not have it happen.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody there wants it. I don't think that this is definitely not a playful organization. Like in terms of like Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, I think they might be great, but they're not like these super gregarious personalities who want the world watching them, and they're not into the camera. So it doesn't really fit the Bears' whole thing. But hopefully, I would like it if they didn't have a choice.
Me too. I'm with you.
There's only 4 teams.
I wanted to punch George right in the mouth when he started getting pussy and puffy.
Yeah. I think George would like it. George, I know George a little. He's a playful guy, and I think he would. I know he thinks he wouldn't like it. I think he probably would like it more than he would think.
Think of all the new hits that you get on the Lunch with Larry segment on ChicagoBears.com, Grote.
Man, you guys give Larry as much crap as we do, man.
Oh my fucking God! Your Lunch with Larry.
He couldn't hear that one.
I didn't hear that. I gotta.
Yeah, that was Dan Weeder talking about who was the Pernell McPhee. When he got introduced in Chicago, everybody was in the scrum asking him questions, and Larry Mayer walks up, and Pernell turns to him. He's like, "Oh my God, you're Lunch with Larry."
Larry's the best, man. He keeps everybody organized out at Hallis Hall. He does the assignment, all the writers work together to get the transcripts, and Larry assigns all the different beat writers who's gonna. So Larry's a key. He's a point man.
He just sat down with Justin Fields, right?
Did he really?
He was tweeting about it. Yeah, that he had
tweeted
a
about
one-on-one
it.
with
Just
Justin.
sat down with
Did
him.
he get anything good? Was there anything good?
Do you like playing quarterback, Justin?
Oh man! No. Hey, leave Larry alone.
Do you like Bears fans?
Hey, now.
Hey now.
Larry's a good man. He's a good man, and he's thorough.
Larry wanted no part of me when I traveled with the team. He knew who I was and just ignored me.
What do you mean? Like when you were in the stands and you'd see him on the sideline or something?
No, I traveled with the team. I never got to talk to you about it. I went to Dallas.
Oh, you were on the team flight?
I was on the team flight. I rode the bus sitting literally next to Ted Phillips.
What? How did you get all that?
We got a guy. The guy invited me to his house. He wanted to meet you, Jim Larison, Yoko.
Oh my God! Well, that's cool, man. Good. That's a great experience. Good for you.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I got to see who the real and who the fake, and the energy, how the Bears travel. I talked to a bunch of players about.
Oh, nice.
Free Chick-fil-A on the team
Chick-fil-A.
flight.
I'd never been on a plane that big, Mark.
Coming on the plane after Dallas, Shane.
Mark can't hear these drops.
Yeah, I'm sure they're great.
Yeah, they're good.
Every time you see one come up, just laugh, Mark.
Give it the big laugh.
Let's do my radio laugh.
So what's your role now, Mark? So you'll be on the beat because now it's over there.
Right. So now I'm on the beat. The only, unfortunately, that starting now, I guess you can't call me the sideline reporter anymore. So I'll be at the game still. I'll be in the press box. Hopefully I'll get down on the field a little before the games. But yeah, I'll be covering the team full time. Nothing changes whatsoever other than my seat on game day.
Will you also pick up like a show on the score?
We'll see. I mean, I did a draft show this year. We did like a weekly thing leading up to the draft. We'll see. I mean, obviously with the Bears having left our company, that changes our budget a little bit, and in a good way. So we can now be a little bit more creative, but we have not received our marching orders yet at the score in terms of what we're going to do on, pregame, our version of a pregame show, pregame, postgame, at the game, travel, all of that stuff. Yeah. So that's too early, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what we come up with this year now that we don't have the Bears in our building.
Shane and I didn't get that invite for the draft show. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Left us hanging.
To come on the draft show. Yeah, well, I probably should have, but you know what? As I always tell people that didn't come on the show, I don't book the show. I was talent. I was like, I know. My producer would tell me who I got on every week. So
listen, this is who you're going to talk to. Oh,
yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah. Phil, who?
I've never heard of that fucking guy before.
Not even a real doctor. Get him out.
A real doctor. We will. I hope we see. The guy's reading my mind.
What did it say?
Mark Grote did push for me to be on 670 The Score when you texted me after I was on.
Oh yeah, with Greg
and
Gabriel.
I predicted the James Daniel. I was with Greg Gabriel.
I still remember that. I was in Outer Banks and I was listening to Phil, and you're like, "What? Don't forget about James Daniels." And Gabriel's like, "No. There's too many injury concerns there. We
really
can't go there." Yeah, I remember that. But Mark, talking about your draft show leading up, when the Bears pick was coming up at what were they? Their first one in the second round, 53.
Yeah.
Phil and I were kind of banging the drum for John Michael Schmitz. We thought they might, because there's a lot of talk about him going higher, the center from Minnesota, that the Bears might, solidify the offensive line even more. Was there, when they were going in that second round range, was there anybody that you were kind of targeting that I think maybe, Herb Howard and I talked that day on air about Jervon Dexter, and we didn't think that the Bears would probably go with him at 53, but was there anybody for you that you're kind of like, I think this could be the guy?
Yeah, I don't know if there's necessarily anybody specific. I was just like, okay, this has to be the day for defense. That there better be some, you address so many other positions from wide receiver to offensive line in the first round of the draft, and then the free agency wide receiver. I was like, okay, just get going on the defense. So no, I didn't really have like a specific name or anything like that.
Yep.
I was more content to sit back. Okay, arms folded. What you gonna do? Who you gonna take?
Yep.
Yeah, the draft, to me, we found out who Ryan Poles is a little bit more, in my opinion. As one of the Bill pointed out, our whole network, including Eric Kramer, he took over and was the GM on Wednesday night, the night before the draft, and he also selected Darnell Wright. I selected Darnell Wright in my mock. Cards selected Darnell Wright. So it seemed like this is where we were thinking the Bears needed to improve in order to help Justin Fields. And we prayed that Ryan Poles' personality, being a former offensive lineman, because it was a nervousness for me. I know what you said about Jalen Carter, but the Skoronski stuff really agitated me because I just did not whatsoever see this polish, this toughness, this finishing and attitude, all of the pop, none of that Darnell Wright has did I see from Skoronski. So it got me very nervous. Is Ryan Poles going to placate to the Northwestern media crew, or is he going to go by the tape? And listen, I got to give him credit here. I think Darnell Wright is a day one starter, like you said, and you got to see their personality. They love defensive backs. I wasn't expecting a corner there, and I think that leads to it. And you pointed him out too, Stevenson.
Yeah. No, I think that's an interesting prospect right there. That Stevenson's going to have a chance to start. I don't know that Kendall Vildor started to show something, I thought, but he's expendable, so that becomes a great spot. Back to Skoronski and all that. Yeah, I think it was becoming obvious. What I was trying to figure out or confirm, I guess, is Is Braxton Jones their future left tackle? Because if that was decided by the regime, if they really are like, okay, he's our starting left tackle for the next 4 to 6 years or whatever it is, if that's the guy, then it would have been silly to take Skoronski because he is a left tackle, or as you guys said earlier, can move him inside and like it's Kyle Long all over again. So to draft Darnell Wright and be like, yeah, that's our right tackle. I mean, that's a very exact plan, and it would not have made sense to draft Peter Skoronski and his short arms.
Exactly. It would be a total outlier to the position. There's not one starting offensive lineman that has that short of arms. Offensive tackle with that short of arms, I believe, in the history of the NFL. So now you're.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So that's like poor Skoronski. He's got to hear, hey, you got short arms, and they're probably about the shortest we've ever seen. Good luck, little man. Good luck with your big man football career with your little arms. Just what a horrible emasculating thing he has to deal with now. Oh yeah. Oh, you're the short arm guy. Yeah. Who was the quarterback with the small hands last year? The Pittsburgh guy, the Steelers quarterback. Kenny Pickett.
Dave Craig.
Yeah. Dave Craig. Oh man.
Remember, he had a lot of fumbles too.
Oh yeah, he had those tiny little children hands. Yeah.
Played for the Bears.
Oh, we saw him. Yeah, those little
number
hands.
17.
Dave, the former Seattle Seahawk.
Yes, Dave Craig.
Old Dave Craig.
I can't tell you where Dave Craig played college. That would be interesting.
Dave Craig seems like he probably would have played at
Washington State.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like a Washington State.
Maybe even like an Oregon State or something. Something in the mountains.
Irvine.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah, right. It's not one of the big schools. It's definitely not one of the big schools. It's not like UCLA. Dave Craig. No.
All right. Well, you guys are all wildly off. Milton College.
Yeah.
Milton, see?
That fits too, actually.
You know what? Milton sounds right. He's the only one that ever played from Milton.
Oh, yeah. Well, it sounds like a school that a guy with little hands would go to. You know what I mean?
Come on over here, Dave. We'll take you.
Let's get a look at those fingers. Oh, yeah. You're definitely what we're looking for. Let's stretch those puppies right out. Let's go. There you go.
Oh, man. We're having a blast here. If you're just tuning in, we got the great Bears beat reporter, Mark Grote, friend of the network. We put him on Front Street when we first met him, and there's never been a relationship built on humor and accountability like this one with Grote at TTNL Network, because Grote gives it to us. And you admitted, you're like, fuck, I hear you motherfuckers in my head.
Yeah.
I gotta tweet out more. 5
years ago, man. That was like
it's crazy.
Before I took over the gig, your guys are like hitting me up. I mean, I'm just getting, there's still smoke coming from the Cubs job, and you guys are all over. You guys are like,
fuck is this Grote character?
Yeah, how come he's not tweeting? What do you mean, how come I'm not tweeting?
He's not tweeting because his hands are so fucking small.
Shane, I went to Milton too.
Actually, Dave Craig would have been a good texter and tweeter. I mean, like small hands. Yeah. Nobody ever accused him of fat fingering anything.
Oh my God.
That's great.
Oh man.
There you go. Yep, I like it.
Do my thing.
Zorich is feeling it. Zorich is saying he likes it.
Oh, good. Okay. Excellent.
Anyway,
that's a big arm guy right there. Zorich,
we love you, Mark. I know.
Love you too, boys.
A lot of time. I appreciate you jumping on with us and getting so generous with your time, talking the Chicago Bears. I could keep you on forever laughing with you. Is there a show everybody should be watching that you're watching?
Oh, absolutely not. Because I'm
No?
Well, when I tell you what I'm watching, you're gonna be like, yeah, we're all watching Succession. I mean, I'm catching up on Succession.
Oh, okay.
I'm only through 2 seasons of Succession. Other than that, honestly, I've had a weird appetite. I've always liked South Park. I've had a really a rekindling of my relationship with South Park for some reason. I'm really into South Park lately. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you guys? Anything?
I'm watching. I went back. I'm Hulu. I've been watching Elementary.
That
With
sounds
Lucy
awful.
Liu.
Okay. Elementary. What?
It's actually every episode is like a new murder or something they gotta solve. It's
Oh, okay. So you're watching Law and Order. Cool. There's like a murder in every episode. Wow, what a concept. Yeah.
It's like you get it. I'm trying to get into the
I asked you
Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap.
Oh wow. Okay.
The new one.
Oh, it's a new version. Okay.
Yeah, they redid it. They do that with all these shows.
Yeah, you're right. They do. They're like Murphy Brown came back and
yeah, it is tied to Sherlock Holmes.
They're remaking White Men Can't Jump also.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
I learned that once in my life. Yeah. Now I gotta live it again.
Yeah. I'm sure Woody Harrelson will be the old Yoda in the movie, and they'll be
It's gotta be a guest appearance, right?
Yeah, he'll be in it some way, and then there'll be some new young white guy.
if they don't get him in the show, I think it would be a drop. You got to get a little cameo.
Oh yeah, you don't make that movie. You don't. It'd be like making what was the Eddie Murphy
Coming
remake?
to America?
Yeah. That'd be like having like one of them not being like Arsenio Hall's not in. Like you can't make the movie without all of that. It was like Dumb and Dumber when they remade Dumb and Dumber with 2 other jamokes, and it was awful. So
you can't change the cast. That's like my kids watching. They're watching Family Matters on Hulu. So they've watched the whole season. Then all of a sudden the mom changes. My son's like, what happened to the mom?
Yes, I see. I caught that. Fresh Prince.
Yeah,
Fresh Prince.
They're watching that now because they finished Family Matter. There's nothing on TV for kids. It's like all sex.
Come on,
drugs.
You guys want to know what I'm watching? I have a 2-year-old daughter. Coco Melon.
Coco Melon. Yes.
Yikes. Oh, is that the new thing now? Because I'm not up to date on my 2-year-old television.
Yeah, you're not missing anything.
Got to step
up. Terrible.
That does sound awful. That just I have a minor headache just hearing that name. And I've never even seen it. Like just a small headache coming on.
Yeah, we just switched over to YouTube TV, and they have the unlimited DVR, and she's testing those limits of the unlimited DVR because it's got like 8,000 episodes of Coco Melon.
God,
nuts.
That's good. You just press it. Coco, boom. Snowfall is a great show on Hulu, which is actually a FX show. If you haven't watched that, that is a great
show. Okay, FX. Yeah, there's some new Western coming out on FX now too, or something like that.
Are they bringing back what's his name? Oh
yeah,
man,
the old dude, the guy with the voice, right?
Oh, I love that dude. If we're talking about the same dude,
I think we are. Older gentleman with a mustache.
Yeah, he was in The Ranch with.
Yes, and he's a character. Yeah.
I like that you guys are talking about an old dude with a mustache, and you're trying to narrow it down with a Western. You wear a cowboy hat.
We know what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is not the part you guys are going to want to
horse?
save him, but yeah.
The guy with the voice.
Yeah. This
is the dude that talks on screen.
Right.
And
Elliott.
Laz got it.
Yeah.
I think
Elliott.
He's like Sam Elliott. He's like 75 too. So anybody under 50 has no idea who we're talking about right now.
Sam Elliott should do reading books and shit. I mean,
oh yeah. No, he's great.
Oh,
he's the best.
The coach of Wisconsin on draft day. Remember? He was the head coach.
He was?
Of Sam Elliott was the head coach of Wisconsin on draft
I
day.
don't remember that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
I
that
didn't
makes
know
sense.
You don't
though.
remember him talk? You don't remember Kevin Costner calling him? Who was the
I
quarterback's
don't.
name? Bo Callahan.
Bo Callahan.
Yeah.
That's Bo Callahan. Grote.
Yeah.
Justified is coming back. Yes, Justified.
Oh, I don't know.
Another
If
good.
What's okay? I got to check
You
that
gotta.
one out.
That's also FX on Hulu. You can catch up all the seasons there. Justify was really good. Really, I didn't know that Sam Elliott was on draft day. Look at that.
Yeah, he's the head coach of Wisconsin. He calls him, talks to him about the birthday party that.
Oh, he was the
nobody showed up
kid's
to.
college coach.
Yeah, of Wisconsin.
There he
right
is. He's picking
Yeah.
up the phone.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Hey, is Jack Sanborn over there?
Don't draft him. His fucking hands are too small.
We need Jack Sanborn.
What is the size of Sanborn's hands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sanborn's neck.
Don't tell
I've
me he's
never
got those little Danny Craig hands. I ever see
Yeah.
those hands again. Tell you something about Danny Craig and his little hands. I handed him a glass of water and he couldn't even hold on to that.
Grote is in rare form tonight.
Oh man. Boys, it's been a pleasure.
Love you, man.
Yeah.
Love
Thank
you, man.
so much.
Awesome.
This
Let's
is off
talk
season.
again.
This is all. By the way, this is off season Grote you're getting. So
I love
congratulations.
off-season.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought it was 2 gummies, Grote.
2 gummies. then you'd lose. Then you'd lose Grote. 2 gummies. Two gummies. Grote would be funny. But
He'd be laying on the
probably-
couch. We'd be interviewing the cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Creepers.
Would not be there. So
Did you name your cat Larry Mayer? That's the next question.
man, I didn't realize this show was run on Larry Mayer.
We gotta get Larry. Will Larry come on?
Has Larry never come? I figured he
He's
was
never
like.
come.
Have
Can
you
you
asked
ask
him? Have you asked him?
No, he
No.
left a bad taste in his
He's ghosted us.
He's go.
My one interaction, I know everybody's heard the story here, but I know you haven't, Mark. Jay
This looks
Cutler's
great.
first preseason game as a Chicago Bear was in Buffalo. And I went to that game and I walked down, just about down onto the field. I was sitting there and the players were warming up, and all of a sudden out of nowhere comes Larry Bear. And nobody in the fucking stadium knew who the fuck Larry Bear was except for me. And I'm like, Larry! He comes fucking Forrest Gump
does a
sprint
180.
over like,
Wow.
holy shit, somebody knows me. And he's like,
Yeah.
you want an autograph? And I'm like, nope, I'm good. And he turned around.
Wait, you offered him an autograph?
No, he
He
asked
offered
me if I
him.
wanted it.
Oh,
he said, do you want an autograph? Because I yelled his name. And I said, no, I'm good.
Oh, he gave him the cold no.
That's
Yeah.
awful, man. You
I was just doing it because I
soul.
recognized Larry Mayer. And I'm like, Larry.
Oh.
And he gumped it over to me. He's
You
like,
have
you want
to
an
talk to
autograph?
him.
Oh man,
Yeah.
next time take the autograph and then it'll come on
Yeah.
your show. I mean,
I should
Yeah,
have.
he's had a problem with me ever since then. I was like, we sat on the bus. I was sitting
Yeah.
behind Larry on
Wow.
the team bus.
well, I can imagine. Hey,
Maybe we
That-
can
that's
build
pretty
a
rough.
relationship.
I think
Can
you
we-
guys need to do some rebuilding. I think you need to take that
Yeah.
autograph because I'd be a little
I
ticked
will
off
take a
too.
Larry.
Like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
As long as he's wearing his eye black
Yeah.
when he does it,
oh, man.
you need the
Man.
one with his eye black.
I'm starting the Leave Larry Alone campaign.
Yes,
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
him alone.
Leave Larry alone.
Hey, I
He's a
think
good
when
man.
we joke about him, he should understand it's all in good love.
I know. Well, you get him on, and then you guys could, hey, just like with me, right?
Exactly.
You guys were after me. We became besties, and I think the same thing can happen with Larry. And
Yeah.
maybe you got, and hey, maybe you guys can even have lunch with him. And
That
that's all.
would be
folks.
amazing.
Good night, everybody.
Holy shit. That's next level right there.
Yeah.
I'll be here all week, folks.
Good night, everybody.
All right, Mark.
All right, guys.
Later.
See you, Mark.
Mark Grote.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
the
a great
man,
spot.
the myth.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Holy Grote. Grote brought it tonight.
Had jokes.
You did.
Had a lot of jokes.
I
I
think-
love Mark, seriously.
You know, you have to love the consistency. I think every single time we've had Mark on TTNL, he's had audio or video issues.
He is consistently audio lacking. Something goes wrong with Grote and our boy Brett Maley.
Oh yeah, Brett. We gotta have Brett on. We haven't
I
had him
miss
on for
Brett.
a while. Yeah,
I love Brett. Well, anyway, what an amazing show. A fun time. I'm losing my voice. As you could tell, I had a bunch of coughing episodes.
I'm fucking crushed. Can't hear you.
Lunch.
Eddie thinks it's funny.
He does. I love Cherie's mom. I love Cherie's mom. Happy Mother's Day. Did you have a great Mother's Day with your mom, Cherie? Did you talk to her?
Several times during the day, yes. But
nice.
I sent her flowers and gave her money because my cousin took all of them out to dinner.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Where did they go?
I think McCormick and Schmidt.
Okay, great. Nice. I don't know what that is, but
Seafood restaurant.
I thought it was going to be Red Lobster.
No.
And I have a Mother's Day Red Lobster story. It's
Does everybody here like seafood?
I like shellfish. I don't like fish. Like, oh, we're gonna have
What's
fish.
wrong with you?
I don't like it.
You don't like salmon? Grilled,
Ah,
blackened?
I can
blackened
deal with salmon because it doesn't taste so fishy.
Too fishy, yeah. Gotcha.
But I can eat every kind of seafood, like
Oh, me too. I could eat seafood every day.
except fish, plain fish. I can eat shellfish, clams, scallops, shrimp, lobster. I love all
Talking
that.
about like tilapia and like that white fish.
Tilapia, I fucking hate.
Yeah.
I don't like tilapia, no.
I
Oh
got
my
you.
God.
I'm with you.
I have a tilapia story that I'll have to share another time.
Red Lobster, was it the same as the Red Lobster story?
The Red Lobster story is we went to Red Lobster for Mother's Day. We end up wait for 4 hours. We had
What?
a reservation for Mother's Day. We wait 4 hours
For
I'm
a seat?
Yeah, to be seated.
Fuck that. Is that
Damn,
like the
I know,
only
after
restaurant?
2 hours,
in
I
town?
would have fucking
Holy
Oh
shit.
my God, dude.
Oh, damn.
You know my dad, like he was going crazy. He was gonna sit down no matter what. It was crazy. I think it was closer to 3 hours, but
Gonna tell you shit in your hat and get the hell up.
Exactly.
Probably hungry.
You could have went and caught your own fish and cooked it up in fucking 3 hours.
Exactly. My uncle was a fisherman, by the way. He was a professor. He would catch fish every day and sell it to the restaurants in New York, like literally pull up and sell the fish there. Anyway, I'm looking for this.
Shout out Tape Never Lies. Shout out. I know you hear me, baby. Shout out. I know you see me, baby. Shout out. We gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew. Gotta show love too. Shout out. I know you hear me, baby. Shout out. I know you see me, baby. Shout out. We gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew. Gotta show love too. From the
Fans in the stands to the follows on the gram. Thanks for your support, showing love in the DM. There you go. Cool Kennedy. Shout you out, Cool Kennedy. Miss you, bro. I know Cool Kennedy's doing that real estate thing, looking for the house. The market's crazy. It's the off season here at TTNL, and we never stop, right, Claudia? We continue
every week
to break down the Chicago Bears, the charter franchise. Love them or hate them, you are married to this.
I want to see him on Hard Knocks, right?
I don't know how you have to be some kind of dick to change and wear like a Raiders shirt or something and change allegiance. You got to be like the biggest giant pussy. That's what you are. You always stay loyal to your team. I'm sorry. I'm a Dolphins fan now.
Yeah, no.
How does that happen? I have no support or love for anybody.
I remember when Riley got
Well, you
old
know-
enough, Ela's like, you should just let him pick his own team. And I'm like, that's not fucking happening. No.
Exactly.
But there's not an AFC team you kind of root for. I mean, obviously, if they play the Bears,
I've
you
always
don't root for them,
kind
no.
of
Like-
rooted for the Cleveland Browns because my uncle was the head coach.
Yeah.
I also kind of root for the Jets because my other uncle coached the Jets. But I mean, that doesn't make my dad. If the Bears lose, it affects me.
Of course,
it crushes me. I'm not. Well, at least the Jets won. It's like, I can't live like that. All of a sudden, I'm gonna come jump on a band. I'm a Chiefs fan. I look at some kids. I'm like, even some of the kids I'm coaching now. I like the Chiefs. Yeah, I always go, "You're kidding? Did they win something?" Because they front run. I get.
Well, that's
little
like, I mean,
kids,
Phil,
that's fine.
how many Patriot fans when we were growing up?
There was
Nobody
like
was
two.
fucking Patriot fans.
Two Patriot
Nobody
fans.
was Patriot fans.
They had the
Now, all of a
ugliest
sudden, they're
fucking uniform.
everywhere.
That fucking guy and is gonna snap the fucking. I always thought he was like George Washington was about to snap. Remember that logo?
The logo, yeah.
He's got his fucking looks like the Redcoats are coming hat on. Paul Revere was snapping.
Oh my god.
I was I hated the Patriots.
Like all of Riley's little buddies, it's funny. They're all, into basketball and stuff like that. And they'll come over and they're wearing their Golden State Warriors shit. And I'm like, how long you been a Warriors fan? They're like 11.
I love you for that.
Yeah. Drives me nuts. I'm like,
I hate that too.
Steph Curry's the best in history. You just got to recognize. I'm like, oh my God. Michael Jordan was a ball hog. That's the only reason he scored. And I'm like, I got no problem breaking your fucking leg. You're 11. It's fine.
Accidents happen every day.
Yeah.
That's like that dude I confronted on Instagram. I tried to reach out to him to get him to come on the show where he's,
oh my God.
He's creating a narrative that Justin Fields sucks. He doesn't know.
You should probably concentrate on that fucking massive boil he had on his lip.
Fantasy footballers
Yeah.
with a AZ_. He's verified on Instagram. I want him to come on. Like, come on the show.
When you have 17,000 followers on Instagram and like 2,300 on Twitter, that usually is a big warning sign.
Really? That he's buying?
No, come on.
Buying followers.
If you have that big of a social media presence, you got a social media presence everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
listen.
He's not dumb enough to wait in line for 4 hours at fucking Red Lobster, but there's some. there's some issues.
I mean, did your mom want to go to the Red Lobster?
I mean,
is that
yes,
why?
it was my
Okay.
mom.
I was gonna
What did
say,
you
okay,
order
that's
there?
the only
What did
reason
you-
I can see why you.
It was like a 40 a giant buffet. Like it was a special, like all you can eat lobster. It was something for Mother's Day, so we waited there.
I love the
it was
biscuits too, dude. But
Oh,
I would just go to Jewel and grab a box. They got boxes
4
of
hours.
people.
Fuck that.
They got it at the grocery
It was
store.
3.
They got a box of it.
We've
Even
waited
then.
2.5 hours for modern pizza.
I did. I talked to Claudio the whole
Exactly.
time.
Claudio forgot.
You have ice cream after?
Does
Like,
Shane-
man, I can't wait to meet Shane. I'm like, all right, cool. It's in the fucking picture with you we took, man. It's all right.
Ultimate Feast, is that what it is, Scott?
That's
that
all
what it's called?
fried shit though on that. That's not everything on that's fucking fried, right? On the Ultimate Feast.
I have no idea.
Huh?
Listen,
Oh,
we have great seafood. We have great seafood here in Connecticut on the coast. Go out there, Lenny and Joe's, the Chowder Pot. It's one of my favorites. Bill's Fishtail. They have great, but my mom had whatever. This was like in the late 80s. So
Would
Red
Coach-
Lobster was like
Coach
a
O
big
get?
thing. Oh, he would get everything. He loves fish.
Philip,
This clam could play middle linebacker.
Claudio's father always ordered this fucking spaghetti.
Zuppa de fish.
It's got clams, mussels.
Yeah.
He's like,
he still
Philip,
orders it.
you want some? I'm like,
that's it.
There's no
You need a bib. You need a fucking bib for that fucking dish. Yeah.
You should make Cars Have Dinner with Eric Kramer at Red Lobster.
That would
Do
be
they have
awesome.
a Red Lobster in Chicago?
Oh, yeah.
Probably in the suburbs.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
Listen, we just reminiscing. TTNL. It's more than just football. It's family, right, Logan? Even if the UK office is probably top 6 worst shows ever, I still like you, man. Still like you. Cherie, you have anyone to shout out for the shout outs as we wrap up?
Nobody in particular. Just shout out to you guys. Shane behaved himself kind of today.
I
so
did.
good
I
job,
did.
Shane.
Not pre-show.
But no, just shout out to you guys, what you do, what you bring to the fans. Thank you all. And as a fan, I appreciate it as well. So just shout out for all of you and what you guys bring.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm so excited that you're back. If you're excited that Cherie's back, smash the like button. Get those likes up. Let other people know about the best network covering the Chicago Bears on the planet. Where else are you going to get freaking 2 Gummies Grote?
Ivan, you got to throw that up there in the brand, man.
I'm saving it.
Okay, save it. All right.
We're going to build something off of that because that was hysterical. I already saw what I might be the show end picture. I don't know.
That'd be great.
Ivan Vargas, do you have a shout out?
Yeah, shout out to Mark Grote, man. He's fun to talk to, fun conversation that you guys had, man. It was fun listening to it. Yeah, other than that, man, just great show. Shout out to you guys. Another great one on Wednesday night. Shout out to the fans. And yeah, just good show all around, guys.
Appreciate it. The Sizzler, Shane. Did you have one of those? The Sizzlers?
The red Sizzler?
Yeah, that was like the cheap version of Red Lobster. You had a tray and you walked through the line. I'll have those shrimp.
This
3 of
lobster's
those.
only been here on the warmer for 12 hours. Do you want zap off?
It was under that red light.
Yeah. Why is it so chewy? Am I supposed to be able to blow bubbles with it?
Oh my God, I have a funny story about that too. Mother's Day, Cherie, we go to this other place. Now, it's just COVID was going on, but they were allowing people now to go to restaurants. So that year, I don't remember. So I'm going up for big stuffed shrimp, guys. And they had a slicing station of roast beef or prime rib. So I got my prime rib. I'm going to do my surf and turf, Ivan. So I go to the station. I get 3 stuffed shrimp. They look perfect. By this station is one of these metal shiny things that you press the button. And I'm like, oh, it's a butter thing. Like it looks like it's a butter thing at the movie theater. That you put. There's one over here by that shrimp, one over here by this shrimp. So I go, oh yeah. I put some butter on it. I'm like, zzz. I go back to my seat. I'm cutting this prime rib. I start cutting the stuffed shrimp. I go put it in my mouth. I swear to God. I bite down on this shrimp and I'm like, oh my, burn my whole mouth. It was fucking hand sanitizer.
Oh my God. What the
fucking hand sanitizer on the fake stuffed shrimp. I swear to God, my mouth. I couldn't get I couldn't eat anymore. Fucking sanitize my mouth. I go to I thought it was butter. My dad's like, where's the butter? Where's the butter?
The fact that it came out clear gave you no indication that it was butter.
3. It was like at an
Why
angle.
is this butter clear?
No, it didn't. I couldn't see it. It just flew on top. I was like, oh my God. That's my butter story on the shrimp. Anyway, Ponderosa. That's where Hofstra took all of us freshmen to the Ponderosa.
Oh, yeah.
Before let's go. We're going to bring you guys all you can eat. Our awesome coach. He took us all to the Ponderosa. Actually, it was fun. We had a blast that night, but the food was the same thing as the Sizzler. If you put a line of people in there, you got it perfect.
Get that SpongeBob drop 4 hours later.
4 hours later.
SpongeBob.
Exactly.
We use that drop for Eric Lambert. We talk about 4 hours later.
Eric has written his next story.
Next up on Sports Mockery, let me tell you about the Red Lobster situation I had with my mom on Mother's Day.
And I couldn't smell the. You couldn't
Eric,
smell
your
the
mom's a
hand
cunt.
sanitizer.
Write that down.
Oh, Jesus.
I spoke too soon, huh?
Yeah.
I fucked your mom.
Audio. Since your fucking moms, you got any shout outs?
Well, I was going to say happy Mother's Day to everybody. But you throw that drop. But anyways,
fuck
shout out to you guys. Obviously, Sharif, great to have you back.
Claudio muted himself.
He
for a
did.
second.
I did. Did I?
Yeah.
You're going like this, and you must have
All of
hit a
sudden,
button
you
or
must have
something.
hit a button.
But yeah, shout out to all you guys. Sharif, it's good to have you back. And a couple people that I saw in the chat here: David G, Grant LeCompe, and Bill Feckers. So we'll shout out to those guys. I haven't seen them in a while. So
nice.
There we go.
Shane.
Yeah, I'll keep mine short and simple. Phil, I told you about my Sunday. My Sunday was a little bit crazy, but then I thought things had settled down a little bit, and I popped down on Draft Mob, and I got a kind of a concerning text from Hila upstairs, and her dad had a stroke. So kind of dealing with that and trying to get him on the mend. He's got some paralysis on his left side of his body, but they're hopeful that he'll be able to kick that and get full movement back. And just kind of, heart goes out to her because it's never easy when something happens to your family. It's not like they're just down the road. They're a 10-hour plane trip and a 3-hour car ride away. So it's a whole thing. And as we all know, our parents aren't getting any younger, so you never know. Something like that happens. It's always tough. So shout out to Hila's dad. Thinking about him, love him. Hopefully he does what he's supposed to do and listens to his doctors, and we'll throw some dirt on it and some duct tape and get him fixed up.
There's never a script on this show. Who would have thought we would have been talking about Red Lobster, Ponderosa, the Sizzler? I've always wanted to go to a Golden Corral. Bob?
No.
I've always wanted to see. Cherie says no. No.
It's worse than Old Country Buffet.
Really?
God.
Damn.
We had a hometown buffet here. Remember, Claudio?
Yeah,
The
yeah. I don't think that's a
hometown
chain though. Never
Yeah,
heard
it
of
was. It was.
a chain? Oh yeah.
They closed.
Well,
They closed.
We've had about 85 Gold Star China buffets.
Oh, we
Oh,
don't
yeah.
see many
You know.
China buffets anymore
Yeah, not anymore. No.
over here. It's like COVID or something happened. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the China buffet. Jesus, I miss
They
the
all
Chinese
agree.
buffet.
I'm just not a big fan of buffets, though. I just think it's disgusting. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't do that stuff.
What about a Thomas Jones buffet, Cherie?
Her eyes lit
Work
up.
straight up.
Worked right up.
Cherie's happy, I'm happy.
They used to have Pizza Hut at an all-you-can-eat buffet. You
I
remember that?
remember that.
You don't?
I do remember that.
Oh, that was the
Oh, you mean
best.
salad bar? You mean? Not
Yeah.
No, pizza.
Really? I
Yes,
don't remember
they
that.
brought them
I
out.
remember the salad bar.
The salad bar was there, and the pizzas were there. You pay one price.
I know when I lived in North Carolina, they had a CC's pizza who had the
Oh
buffet.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember
CC's.
that.
CC's.
I don't ever
never had
remember a
that.
pizza buffet. I remember the salad bar at Pizza Hut way back when I was a kid, but
Pizza buffet.
Jesus, I
swear
can't tell
to
you the last time I ate at Pizza Hut. Jesus Christ, it's got to be 20
I
years.
always preferred Pizza Hut to Domino's. Those were the
prefer
two.
Domino's over Pizza Hut.
Oh, where are you, Ivan? Pizza Hut or
Mind you,
Domino's?
that's outside of Chicago. I don't
It
live.
could be
Okay.
a new
That's fine. Like,
question.
cause if we're, I mean, outside of Chicago is like Domino's. Like I was, especially when I was living in Washington, I was just Domino's was the
Domino's?
go-to. Yeah.
Claudio.
Domino's. If you're doing Domino's at Pizza Hut, yeah, Domino's.
Damn. Shane.
I'm with you back in the day.
Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut, yeah.
Yeah, I still prefer Pizza Hut to Domino's. Although
can't
Tate
tell you.
prefers Little Caesars.
I was just gonna say, what about Little Caesars?
They
Papa
don't
John's.
deliver. I've never had Papa John's.
Neither have I. I've
Oh,
never had
really?
Papa John's.
I've
Yeah,
never
I
had
Papa
it.
John's.
There's only one. It's in New Haven.
Yeah.
In New Haven, there's a Papa John.
We got too
It's
much
like-
good pizza around here to have all that shit.
It's on when you're not dodging bullets at Whaley Avenue. You can go to Papa John's.
Phil, did you see Portnoy went to some place in
I heard it,
Meriden?
Little Rendezvous.
Yeah, have you had it before?
Steph has had it. I've not.
He
I'm
gave it a
gonna-
9.1.
I heard. New
Oh, really?
Meriden Pizza, my old hometown.
I know. I gotta try it out.
Steph said that used to be great back in the 90s. But anyway, we're gonna go off the rails here. I just want to shout out all you amazing fans for the support and love that you give this network and letting other people know it. We have a lot of fun here. Try to be ready each and every Wednesday night. If you're not a patron, you're missing out. We'll be breaking down our new linebacker this weekend and getting to our defensive backs. Just pay attention to your stuff. As long as my voice comes back, and I've exercised it a lot tonight. Want to shout out the great Mark Grote. That was so much fun tonight. I needed that. Needed the laughs with you guys. Every Wednesday night you come on here and I was like so tired and not feeling that well. And then your adrenaline and the passion and the pride. So wanted to get out by 10:30. It's 11. What are you gonna do?
Surprise,
Anyway.
surprise.
It's all right.
I gotta do.
Still one of the quickest shows I think we've ever done.
We're out of here.
Yeah, no doubt.
We'll see you guys next week. We have the center guard, wherever he's playing for the Chicago Bears.
A new hairdo.
Dieter Eisland will be jumping on, keeping it 100, talking about his new regime with the Chicago Bears and his chances with the Bears.
Ding, ding.
It's that time, Dieter. See you guys next week. Love you. Smash the like button. Let everybody else know where to go for the best Bears coverage.
The Tape Never Lies Network.
The tape never lies.
Tape never lies. Unless that dragon was fucking a goat.
That's a funny one.